episode 23. My name is Ryan. With me is Alan, as always. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good.
Good, and we have a special guest, Rob. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you?
Good, thank you. Let's go ahead and get some house stuff out of the way before we get all into the good stuff. You can find all of our episodes at columbuscomicscorner.podbean.com and on iTunes as well. We can subscribe, rate, and review us. We greatly appreciate it. You can follow us on Twitter at ComicsCornerPod. We also have a website, which is columbuscomicscorner.tumblr.com. We can find our written reviews as well. And just to forewarn you, we are a spoilers podcast, so once we do get into the books, if you have not read what's in the show notes, hit pause, come back, or if you just want to hear our thoughts before you go out and buy the books, stick around. But first, we have October sales. Sold to retailers, and estimated sales, I should say, as well. But yeah, we got a ton of books, it seems like, this time around. More X books than usual, I think. Maybe, I'm trying to think what's new. Well, Deadpool versus Old Man Logan.
Yep.
Well, one of the reasons why we have so many books is because now we have 4 books that went bi-monthly. We have Blue, Gold, Weapon X, and All New Wolverine all went bi-monthly in October.
Okay, that explains a lot then.
Yeah, but they didn't make top 10. But just underneath that, though, is rank 11, X-Men Gold, issue 13, at a price point of $3.99, selling 81,970 copies out to retailers, with a 96.77% increase from the last issue. And before we go into it, I do want to thank Rob for breaking down these numbers, as always, because you're the man. But yeah, that's where X-Men Gold sits, at a rank 11. Not cracking the top 10, but at least some of the X-Books are getting some love up there as far as going out to retailers. Rob, what are your thoughts on this one?
So I've got a million thoughts about this month's sales, but just to preface, again, these numbers are numbers that go to from Marvel to comic shops, not from comic shops to readers like me and you. Mm-hmm. With Marvel Legacy premiering at the end of September, all of these comic shops stocked up on a million series, or at least all the series that had new jumping on points for their legacy arcs. So consequently, pretty much any Marvel book that had a new Marvel legacy story arc, you're going to see a huge bump in sales. And I think with X-Men Gold number 13, what's relevant here is the fact that of all the books that got the bumps, the book that sold the best for the X-Men and almost cracked the top 10 is X-Men Gold. If there's ever an argument over which one's the flagship, I never want to hear it again. X-Men Gold reads as Uncanny X-Men, and that's the end of it.
Yeah, that's funny because we've made that argument ourselves several times on these episodes, is about Gold representing the flagship, and here it is, almost making the top 10.
Yeah. Respect there. This next one, though, came out of, or not necessarily came out of nowhere, because with Rob's summary that you posted on the website, we have rank 14 Cable issue 150, another legacy start $3.99, selling 71,105 copies, excuse me, with an increase of 122.14%. Who would have thunk it? Coming off of that last,
funnily enough, not the largest jump.
Yeah, not the largest.
122% was not even the biggest one.
No, we'll get to that
that's
one.
What Legacy's done.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. And yeah, who would have thought this? Again, like you said, with all the shops are stocking up on the Legacy. Who knows if they're actually, how many of them are still on the shelves, opposed to actually, after the shops got them, what went out. But good for Cable. At least people are getting attention on Ed Brisson. Plus, you have the new writer announced as well, so everyone wants to jump on it. So there's many factors: new writer, new art team for the most part, and legacy,
and a new arc just all together.
Yeah, everything's everything's new
and
for this one.
Renumbering, and it's a milestone number of 150.
Yes.
In fact, Marvel very smartly, if you take a look at all of the Marvel titles and the ones that got the renumbering, they're all in the vicinity of a milestone. Some of them are just under 700. Some of them, like Thor, was at 700. Cable's at 150, which means that over the next year, all those books are going to hit a milestone issue. Like, we're going to see Daredevil 600. You're going to see Captain America 700, and things like that. So hitting Cable 150, like you guys were just saying, brand new arc, brand new art, brand new characters. There's now a team. it seems like everybody, including the comic shops, are just like, you know what, let's go ahead and just pretend the Cable 1 through 5 from earlier this year didn't happen.
Did not happen.
And that this is now the new Cable number 1.
Yeah.
And I agree. That's a great strategy. I think that's what you should do.
When they announced that 150 was coming, we saw what the arc was going to look like as far as having the team. I was like, let's just act like 1 through 5 or 6 never happened. There was no point in doing it. Let's just pretend this was like a bad dream. And like you said, like that's what everybody wants to do.
No doubt with that one. But right underneath that one, though, is another Legacy arc as well. Rank 15, X-Men Blue, number 13 at a price point of $3.99, selling 71,089 copies, with an increase of 95.80% on this one. Again, the Mojo Part 2, the Mojo crossover, plus Legacy. Boom. People are probably eating it up. I saw a good amount of these still at the shop, as far as the shop I go to. We'll kind of get into that a little bit later, as Rob did break down in his summary. But what were you guys' thoughts on the X-Men Blue ranking? Alan?
Since Gold placed so high, I wasn't surprised to see that Blue had this kind of bump. It is part of that. Yes, it's part of the same arc as Legacy. People are obviously interested in seeing the callback to the classic X-Men. So it would make sense that both Blue and Gold would have a jump. I mean, this was a 95% jump, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not surprised. Legacy's been doing that for these books. Like Legacy, I hate to compare them to like number ones, but Legacies are like number ones.
Oh yeah.
People see Legacy on it, they look at it like a number one. Everyone wants to grab it.
Yep. That was their strategy for the most part. How about you, Rob?
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, they say if you look at the top of a Legacy issue, you know, you have the Legacy banner, the name of the story arc, which I kind of like. I like seeing the story arc very prominent. But to the right of that, it says Part 1.
Yeah,
you know, like, so it's like, even though the number
still
of the
got that number 1 on there, stamping it on there
166
somewhere.
or whatever it is. It says a number 1 on there, and you get all this fanfare, and of course the shelves are stocked with them. Plus, we're not even accounting for all the variants and lenticular covers and all this other stuff. You know, so
yeah, Alan said
anyway,
he saw a plethora.
The store I go to had a whole rack full of lenticular covers. I didn't realize how overboard they were going with the lenticular covers, but they went overboard.
It was about 3 weeks out,
but you know what?
Yeah. Alan?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Because you hadn't been to the shop in a while, you mentioned.
Yeah.
So, you know, looking at that, you know, that's your experience, and I had the same exact experience, and I think a lot of the listeners have the same exact experience.
Yeah.
Which is that, you know, Marvel oversaturated and put a lot of the inventory on the comic shops, and now we've got, you know, shelves and shelves stocked with these things. But however, back to X-Men Blue, it just further adds to the point that Gold is the flagship, because even in the best of circumstances like this right here, Blue has to come in behind Gold all the time.
All the time. Yep. A lot of the old heads just want the old team. That's where a lot of it comes down to, and maybe the shops see that, and maybe that's their fan base. Who knows until we actually, if they ever release, you know, what a shop is selling out. That would be the day.
I think that is it. I think, like you said, I think a lot of the old readers want the team that they more grew up with, and we talked about it maybe last episode or a couple episodes ago. We talked about the fact that the Gold team, as far as star power for a lot of people growing up in the 80s and 90s, we all recognize way more people in the Gold team than some people recognize, you know, the Blue team. Even though the Blue team is essentially the original X-Men team, we still all recognize, you know, Nightcrawler and Colossus and Wolverine and Storm and Kid. Like we recognize all these characters, so we're going to gravitate a little bit more towards that team.
Yeah, and just based on the numbers as well, it seems like it's still balanced too. Like as far as the old heads wanted to read the Gold team, but at the same time, it seems like there are new younger readers interested in the Blue team, so the stores are getting more copies. So it's good to see they're both like at least balanced out, and one's not always overselling one.
I just don't understand how you can make the point that the Gold team has the most popular characters when the Blue team has Jimmy Hudson. I mean, come on.
You're right. They have Jimmy and they have Bloodstorm now. So I mean, watch out, Gold team.
And hey, when you guys get to the review of Blue later on, you'll see that Bloodstorm actually had a line. It's amazing.
Yeah, a line.
Hey, a line, and if I remember correctly, so did Storm.
Yeah, we'll get to. Oh man.
Oh,
Stop the pressing. My goodness.
This is a historic issue we're going to do.
But yes, that is where X-Men Blue sits. But with another legacy jump off point, you're probably seeing a trend here. At rank 23, all new Wolverine, issue 25 at a price point of $3.99, selling at 62,286 copies with an increase of pretty much 88%. So that's pretty good as well. Again, that book deserves it. I think more shops should be ordering it. More people should be reading it. Putting it on their pool because I think I could see Marvel's probably going to snatch up Tom Taylor very soon. I think that's something they're probably in the works. I can see that happening with all this news coming out. So yeah, there's going to be some good stuff there. But yeah, that's where I'm glad to see all new Wolverine getting that love. But Rob, what are your thoughts on the 23 ranking of all new Wolverine?
Wouldn't it be nice if these were the real numbers?
Oh yeah,
and not like legacy inflated numbers? Because like all new Wolverine is just so great, and that issue was perfect.
Yeah,
that was a perfect. This was the Orphans of X debut with Dakin on the cover. I wish that this were the numbers all the time, and we'll see that is unfortunately not true. But go buy it, please go buy it. It's such a good book.
I don't even think I should even step in here and say anything because I've been championing X23 and all new Wolverine since the beginning of me and Ryan doing any kind of podcast. Like, this is one of the characters that I have been championing so hard.
You got me on board.
And yeah, you never wanted to never really give her a second thought, and you start reading her, and it's like, now you love Laura and Gabby. They gave you Gabby. So
and Jonathan.
Yeah, I can't forget John. Can't forget about John.
Trio.
But the trio. It's awesome to see that it's sitting at this position, but we are in the midst of legacy. Yeah, we're in the midst of legacy, and like you said, there's a lot of these have the legacy inflation on them. But this is definitely a book and a series that people should be reading. This is one of those ones that's really going under the radar. And I think anybody listening is going to hear me now say you should be reading this. So you got the three of us agreeing that this is a book that needs to be read. It should be getting some love. It should always be, in my opinion, within like the top 20.
Yeah.
I think this should always be somewhere in the top 20.
And I say this all the time probably when we do these numbers, but again, this doesn't count for digital sales.
Yep.
There's still, could be a lot more people actually buying it more digitally. Maybe one day we'll actually get those numbers. Who knows? But that'll probably be a long, long time from now. But let's go ahead and talk about rank 27. Marvel's most two popular characters, Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, number 1. At a price point of $3.99, selling 56,708 copies estimated out to retailers. No percentage on this one, obviously, because it's the first issue. But yeah, I mean, that's Deadpool and Old Man Logan. They're always up there in the rankings. They just sell. It just happens. Like, no matter what the story is, those two characters are going to sell. Especially you put them together. Marketing. There you go. Good job, Marvel. That's all I can really say about that book. Rob?
Well, what's notable about this is that, if somebody walks into a comic shop and they see legacy, new number one, they see 10 million things. And here is a non-legacy, very poorly timed miniseries that still did respectably.
Yeah.
So good on them. I mean, sales don't account for quality, but who cares? Because it still sold really well, and good for them.
Well, I thoroughly agree with what Rob was saying. This is definitely a book that, even though it didn't have very much quality in it, and it could have been an interesting premise, this got, instead of getting the legacy bump, this got the name bump. This thing sold like this purely off of the two names on the cover.
Yep.
And the fact that everyone thought this was going to be awesome just because you got those two characters in there. And we're here to tell you that first issue was not very good. There's another Deadpool versus series going on right now that was much better than what this started off to be. Yeah. Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, number 1.
Mm-hmm. But this is now we get into the sad portion of these numbers, because that trend of seeing all those legacy numbers doing so well, it all comes crashing down because now it's all explained. Because at rank 47, X-Men Gold issue 14 at a price point of $3.99, selling 41,878 copies with an decrease of 49% from the last issue. So yeah, now we're starting to see a trend. A lot of people aren't, like you said, Rob, they overstocked. So they're like, there's no point in ordering more. We thought, probably with all the incentives they may have had, they thought they could have sold them and got them at a good price. I don't know. But unfortunately, yeah, we're seeing the decrease of the returning numbers for these issues. But Alan, what are your thoughts on this, man?
Exactly what you just said. We're seeing that they ordered and stocked up so much on the previous issue 13 ago that when 14 came out, they realized that they still got tons of 13 sitting on the shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Why order 14? They're not going to fly off the shelves. Legacy. That's all I can say. Legacy. Everything is essentially, number one, so it's going to get that slight bump.
Yep.
And most people, they maybe just want that number one and they don't care about the number two, even if it's a continuation of an arc. Most people just want that. Yeah. They just want that number one.
Exactly. Yeah. In the end, Marvel thinks that maybe they can get readers back, but in the end, most people probably just see it as a number one, and that's what we're seeing be the case in this instance. But Rob, I know you're the one that crushed all of our dreams.
Yeah. You're welcome. So this is of course the first of a series of numbers we're going to see today. That and if you dig beyond the X-Men titles to other Marvel titles, you'll see the man behind the curtain that this is a bit of a charade. Mm-hmm. That what happened here is that Marvel, by starting Legacy and by pushing sales onto comic shops, and comic shops having to stock up on variants and lenticulars and all this other stuff, and the number ones and the jumping off plots, you see these massive spikes in the premiere of the arc. But come number two, which does not have variants and lenticulars and all that other stuff, the sales go right back down to where they were before Legacy even started. So that has been true across the board for all of the Marvel books that we have. At least 2 issues of Legacy under their belt come out already, including Blue, Gold, All New Wolverine, Venom, Amazing Spider-Man, and a few others. Mm-hmm. It's the same story across the board. You get this huge spike for the start of Legacy, and then you go right back to where you were, if not even a little worse off, for the next issue. Which begs the point, what was the point in Legacy from a commercial standpoint if it really didn't change anything? It didn't bring in new readers.
No.
And that's really the most disappointing part of the news today, is that it's at the end of the day, this all seems to have been for naught.
We're
Gold
not seeing
being the flagship
to these books, yeah.
Right, so Gold being flagship and being one of the better selling X books tends to do better than the others and fared better with the drop. But it's just sad story. I mean, it just seems like commercially Legacy wasn't really all it was cracked out to be.
Yeah.
I kind of think that Legacy, especially as you just said that, I think Legacy may have been more designed to not bring in new readers, but to bring back old readers. I think that this was set up in order to bring those people who, 12 years ago were huge X-Men fans but fell off and, decided to read other books. So we're doing Legacy, we'll get kind of back to that form of what they grew up with, what they remember, and that'll bring them back. But another good point you made, Rob, was I didn't even look at it this way, was the fact that every cover that I've seen that has been a lenticular or been some kind of variant is the first issue of the Legacy arc.
Yeah. I
didn't even pay attention to the fact that the number 2s or the second issues have either, less variant covers, definitely no lenticulars, but they either have less or no variant covers. That is very interesting when you really sit down and think about that.
And if you compare the two to DC and Marvel, I mean, DC has maybe 2 lenticulars they have out right now?
Oh, me and you had that conversation, I think, after the show last week, because where you're headed with this is the fact that right now, like you said, they have like maybe 2 lenticulars out, but they did a lenticular events earlier this year. And they made sure that it was only for one event. The event was only 4 issues. It was a crossover,
yeah.
but still, it was only 4 issues, so there's only 4 lenticulars that exist. And Marvel went the route of, well, we have more books that we're putting out at a time. We can put way more. If people love 4 lenticulars, then they're going to love 30.
Well,
so it's more. 30 is more, though.
52 Marvel series have legacy starts. They didn't all come out at the same time, but that's 52 lenticulars.
Yeah.
Wait a second. So Marvel has its own 52?
52
the Marvel 52?
Lenticular verse?
Yes.
So if we refer to the Marvel 52, are we talking about the 52 lenticulars? Oh, man.
And keeping on with the DC, I know you also, in your summary, Rob, you broke down that in the end, DC Rebirth did way better than Legacy right off the bat.
So off the bat, DC Rebirth did do better. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head of how much better, but Legacy did not match Rebirth's numbers, and there could be a couple reasons for that. One could be all the reasons we're talking about today, but another reason could be the fact that last year, I think, or was the year before that Rebirth started. There's a trend in comic books in the industry as a whole that sales decrease year after year after year, and it just might be impossible to match Rebirth's numbers last year, and it would be impossible for Rebirth to match whatever the numbers were for the year before that for whatever that event was, and so on and so forth. It's just a downward trend where it's impossible to capture what has already occurred. But if they're competing with DC, they're losing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everything you said was perfectly right. It's hard to match previous success, but part of what made Rebirth do so well was the fact that they said, "Hey, we're going to do this story, we're going to do this arc, we're going to do this event that's going to get things back to what you remember." And from the jump, they gave us something that we want. They gave us stuff that we wanted. They told us from the jump, like, "Yep, this stuff is changing back. We're going to do this, this, and this." And with Legacy, I mean, we're getting some of the books feel like they feel like the classic books in a way, but at the same time, we're not sure how much of this is actually going to mean something when the dust settles and there's no longer Legacy on the cover.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, with Rebirth, I felt like when the dust settles, regardless, there's going to be stuff that's going to be different and change. This means something. Legacy doesn't necessarily fucking means anything too much.
Nope, just the idea of bringing back characters people complain about not seeing. It's pretty much what I feel.
Which to be honest, in the comic industry, that was going to happen regardless. Like, I don't think a lot of people realize that. We didn't have to whine and raise a fuss to bring Captain America back. Captain America was going to come back.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Steve Rogers was coming back.
They recycle stories at times.
But the fact that we cried and whined and made such an uproar, they just did it sooner than what they probably were going to do it. That's it.
And yet, I still can't see Dazzler. I mean, come on, Marvel.
Exactly. That's because they care more about what the fans think about the A-list characters, the who they consider to be the top characters, those
money
legacy characters, money characters,
and they're in their business. And they're we just need money. We've said it time again, like, if you tell good stories, if you build characters old and new, then we're going to want to read it. Like, Dazzler's a perfect example. They could have dusted Dazzler off and built her up into a new, like, star-studded character. Like, they could have done so much to it, and you saw the potential in IVX. That in one scene, you saw, like, Dazzler could be something amazing. They could really do something with Dazzler.
Well, it's funny we say that, and I know we're getting off topic of the list that we're trying to go through. But,
that's what we do.
As we do every time we do this. But there were 4 one-shots of a final issue to some canceled series, including Power Pack, and I think Silver Sable was another one, and a few others. And Dazzler was scheduled to be one of them, and she was not released yet. And then I saw that it was coming out in January, and now I've seen the solicits for January, and it's not anywhere to be seen.
Oh, wow. So I was wondering about that, because
I don't know what happened.
All those are coming out.
I thought we were getting, I think it's Dazzler 44 or 43, something like that, but apparently I didn't see it listed as with a release date, so who knows what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into some talk after the numbers.
Oh, boy. Just hurt me a little bit with that.
But yes, let's go ahead and diverge. Rank 50, though, Astonishing X-Men number 4, price point of $3.99, selling 40,588 copies. with the unfortunate decrease of 30%, roughly. Yeah, it's a little rough still to see that book not selling out so well. This, again, we say it sometimes. Astonishing X-Men should be the flagship title, and it should be an ongoing, but it's not. And it's only a maxi. But yeah, it's a shame to see. At least it's a top 50. That's cool to see at least. But still, in the end, for the quality, people really should be reading that and ordering that book. But Rob, what are your thoughts on the ranked 50?
Well, as we're going to see with Astonishing and a few other books, is that this Astonishing did not get a legacy bump yet.
Yep.
So it's because it's only issue 4 that came out in October, and I don't think legacy kicks in for them until I think issue 6 or 7.
Which is weird for them to have a. If they're doing that, it's weird for them to have a legacy issue with this maxi series. It didn't jive with me.
Yes, especially since it's not a full series. It's not an ongoing, as we said. But regardless, I'm sad to see it decline. On the other hand, it was squeezed out by a million other legacy things, and I recommend everybody pick it up. It's awesome, but no legacy means you start to slide.
No boost. Alan.
Blow the whistle. I'm calling foul. Astonishing X-Men at 50. That is ridiculous. Every time we do these numbers,
it's going lower.
I think this is one of the books I get the most upset about, because this is one of the, if not the best X title out, especially the best team title. This is the best X team title that they have out right now, and every issue just keeps getting better and better, and the story just keeps getting deeper and deeper, and the possible payoff to this could be so amazing. It has the most potential, I think, out of any of the X arcs going on right now. So this really hurts my heart. It hurts every part of me to see Astonishing X-Men continue to slide down this ladder.
Yeah, buddy. But at rank 55, though, underneath that is Old Man Logan, issue 29, which this wasn't Legacy, was it?
No,
I didn't think so. Okay. Price went at $3.99, selling 39,706 copies, with an decrease, again, of roughly 12%. And yeah, I mean, again, we are seeing without that legacy tag on there, may not get that boost as some of these other titles are getting. And it just shows you the trend of people aren't returning for a lot of these next issues, and stores just aren't ordering them, unfortunately. But Rob, what's your take on this?
Well, like with the last series, what's interesting here is now that we've seen that Gold and Blue and another series we're going to talk about shortly got a legacy boost for issue 1, but then lost the boost for issue 2 because it didn't it didn't bring in new fans, or as Alan said, didn't cause old fans to return. I have to wonder, will comic shops learn their lesson by the time Old Man Logan, Astonishing, or Generation X reach their legacy points, which are probably not until, I think, Old Man Logan is November. I think Generation X is until December.
Yeah.
And so
by the time they have...
so we might not even see... comic shops may have caught on. Generation X may never get a legacy boost. Because they're like, what's the point? Why would I overstock my shelves with this when I can't sell them?
Yep.
So it remains to be seen. I hope that's not true for Old Man Logan. Another amazing series that I highly recommend. It's sad to see that it's dipped under 40,000 for the first time, but I hope that it gets. I hope it gets the love that the other series got too.
Mm-hmm, for sure. How about you, Alan?
Anybody who's listening on a regular basis knows that I love Old Man Logan. That is such a good book. Especially recently, the last little arc, the team that they have on it has gotten... They told a good story, and it was presented in a very beautiful, wonderful way. Like, so much of that art was just gorgeous. So it really hurts to see that we have the legacy bump, which is something that we've been saying a lot this whole time. But we have the legacy bump, and without the legacy bump, you're not going to see any of the... I don't want to say better books or stellar books, but you're not going to see a lot of the books that are a little bit better reach higher than what they're reaching. They're all going to drop down because people are stepping to the side to actually get these number ones, as opposed to just continuing on with good stories. So this is frustrating to me.
Yeah. Just maybe though, this next title at rank 60, Jean Grey number 8, at a price point, which is also the first Legacy Part 1, selling 38,240 copies with a increase of 57.29%. Just maybe this will be the one that has people, if they picked up every single number 1 of the Legacy, they read them all, and Jean Grey stuck out, and they're like, okay, I'll keep that on my pull because it was a good story, setting up something pretty cool. Just maybe we'll see this one either stay where it is, which would be nice to see because that'd be an improvement for the Jean Grey book, or keep going up from here. Wishful thinking, but Alan, what do you think of that?
This is one of the few things about these numbers this go around that put a smile on my face. Actually see Jean climb up the ladder, get a very good position. Makes me hope and wish and think the same thing that you just said. Like maybe some people are finally going to read this book who haven't read it yet, and they're going to go, hey, this is actually a really good book. It's a really good series. It's a really good story. Let me go back and see what I've missed out on. And, maybe they'll enjoy that enough to be like, I'm going to stick around until this series is over. At least something positive has come out of Legacy, and that is Jean's book is getting some kind of recognition.
Some kind. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, like with the first issue for All New Wolverine, or number 25. Wouldn't it be amazing if these were Jean's real numbers?
Yeah.
I don't think we know for sure the future of the Jean Grey series. I think it stays numbered still, even despite a little bump right now, and I hope it sustains the bump for the next one. But I think it's probably going to morph into the Phoenix Resurrection thing, and then it's probably going to morph into X-Men Red, and or maybe this Jean series will continue. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I really wish it does stay with the course here and disprove what I'm going to now call the legacy curse.
Yeah,
where you get a huge bump for one and then a drop for number 2. Maybe she'll be the one that beats it, and it sustains an increase all going through.
Yeah, speaking of another decrease at rank 61 right underneath Jean is X-Men Blue number 14, part 4 of the Mojo crossover at a price point of $3.99, selling 37,909 copies with a decrease of 47%. Yep, and the Legacy Curse hits this one again. Boom, boom, boom.
Yep, it's hitting everybody.
Yep.
So it's hard to say if Jean can't sustain. I'd like that to happen. But yeah, poor X-Men Blue. And I mean, yeah, like you said earlier, Rob, sometimes it's not quality over quantity. And yeah, for me personally right now, Mojoverse is kind of lost its steam for me.
What?
I don't know, if it wasn't for review copies with the Blue, I definitely wouldn't be reading them. I would have read the Mojo crossover, and I would have skipped it. But what do you guys think on this, Rob?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This is going to be the trend going forward, is seeing how all the ones that got the boost have dropped. It's weird to see Jean outrank Blue. That I think is kind of odd. But,
yeah,
that's a first.
But whatever. I mean, it's cool. I like both series.
Yeah.
Irrespective of my opinions of the Mojoverse thing, but it is what it is.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Alan, what are your thoughts, man?
First thought is, I'm going to have something to say later about that comment about the Mojoverse. Yeah, your timing is impeccable, but I mean, I'm not necessarily surprised that this happened. I don't know if how many savvy readers out there realize what series this crossover was going to end on. So maybe they chose to, they felt like they didn't need to necessarily read this one because they're going to get recapped in the next issue will go.
Next one, yeah. If they're not picking up a certain one.
Yeah, so why not? If it's 6 issues, it's going to bounce back and forth. That means I know exactly what series this is going to end on, which means that entire series is going to recap what happened in the other series. So why, get the whole entire series?
No, exactly.
And I mean, this wasn't which issue? This wasn't Danger's issue, was it?
They're all Danger's issues.
I mean, of course they're all Danger's, but I mean, we all know that magical issue where Danger saved the day, basically.
That was 14, I believe, though.
No. What's wrong with you people?
No, I thought gold. She saved the day in gold 15, right?
I don't. Was it 15?
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't.
they
See
throw all
that,
this
and,
shit at
and
us,
see,
and I'm just like, I can't keep any of this straight.
Right, exactly.
and that's the problem of having a 6-issue miniseries, little crossover. That's the issues with having that. Is because there's one key event that we all like that happened in the series, but we can't remember what issue it was in. Yes, I'm actually not surprised that Blue is here. Gold, as we said, is considered the flagship. So, especially with a legacy bump, there's no way with a legacy bump or any kind of bump that the flagship is going to get outsold by a Blue.
And speaking of legacy bump, let's go ahead and get into this one.
We can skip this one because this is the one that makes me want. This makes me want to cry. This hurts me.
Rank 67, Iceman, issue number 6. At a price
How?
of $3.99, selling 34,200 copies with a increase of almost 158% with their legacy boost. And wow, I cannot wait to see issue 7.
Would it be hilarious if issue 7 is like super nosedive and had like a decrease of 157%?
Honestly, I'm shocked that a lot of stores, I mean, it seemed like they ordered
You know what?
a lot of Iceman, of everything else.
I'm going to tell you why I think that that's not shocking. And it's a real dig at the writer, but fuck them. Which is that people want to like Iceman.
Yeah.
They knew that the champions were being presented as reuniting.
Yeah.
That was the cover. That's the sell. And like, oh, we want to like this series. We want to like Iceman.
I want to give it another chance.
Pick it up. I'm going to give this another chance the same way we just did for Cable. And we're going to let this be a new number 1. We're going to start going forward. And I can guarantee, I will put money down right now that issue number 7 is going to sell less than 15,000 copies.
I would say at least 12.
I guarantee it.
12. Yeah.
12. Oh, wow. I think we're all in agreement on this. As surprised as we are that it had that much of an increase, considering the increase and decrease of some of these books, that's the biggest increase on our list. I personally, for me, because not only there's a lot of factors that go into making a book sell well or have an increase. An event does help, but also if there's something that's considered historic or shocking or that shakes up the character, that can help sell the book. And my only guess was that people not only saw that this had to do with legacy and the way it was presented with the champions, and the fact that we do all want to love Iceman, because we all want to love Iceman. It's Iceman. It's Bobby Drake. We want to love him.
Definitely.
But I think one of the other things was I think that people realized or found out that, hey, he's no longer going to be at the X Mansion. That's kind of a shakeup for the character. Not knowing, I don't know. It's weird. I think some people I think this might have been a word of mouth bump also.
Yeah. Also on the selling point of them mourning over Black Widow's death. And maybe people wanted to pick that up as far as, with the Secret Empire type of time. But in the end.
That could be, but as we found out, that had almost zero to do with, what happened.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Almost zero.
Yeah, almost zero. Almost nothing to do with it. I don't know. I think we're all going to try to come up with reasons and with hypotheses as to why Iceman of all books got that kind of bump. Because that's madness. That's insanity to me that book got that kind of bump. And there's another book that we're going to get to on this list that, in my opinion, that's where Iceman needs to be.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Look, we all know what book that is.
Yeah. And, Rob, did I go to you for Iceman yet?
I'm good.
Cool. Rank 70 then. Weapon X, issue number 9. Not a legacy boost. $3.99. Selling 33,655 copies with a decrease of 20.77%. Usually where we've seen Weapon X lately. Again, we're not necessarily talking about quality. This is just quantity. In this case, is what's going out. And it sits where it needs to be. For me, though. I mean, it should be lower on the rankings list, I think, but Yeah, it is what it is. Weapon X, not a legacy start. Still dealing with the prelude, setting up the long epic movie of Clay. Yeah. Rob, what's your thoughts on? Actually, let me just go ahead and announce. 72 is also Weapon X issue 10, $3.99, selling 33,183 copies with a very small, the smallest of them all, the decrease of pretty much 1.40%. Yep. But Weapon X, Rob.
Wow. I have more to say about Iceman than I do about Weapon X, which should tell you something. But yeah, it's the same story. It's not no legacy yet. I think it hits its legacy mark in December. No, November.
Yep,
December. December.
I think it's end of November. I think. Man, they're trying to crank those out all the time.
Yeah, I know, right? So it's coming up soon. I think it's like issue 13. I think is whatever it is. And whenever it happens, hopefully it gets a boost. Frankly, like we did with Cable, I hope it gets a brand new, fresh start, and we can just put this nonsense about Hulkverine behind us.
Yes.
Unless this is your thing and you want to go read that series whenever it comes out, knock your socks off. But for the rest of us, we can just start over and move forward with this team and be happy it's over.
Right, exactly. Alan?
Oh, boy, we come to me. Not surprised that it sits here. This whole Hulkverine thing has been dragged out forever. This is issues 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew early on that the series was pretty much established to set up the Hulkverine. Honestly, we need to let's just get him his series. We know what's coming. Just give him his series, get him out of this book, and try to do something with this Weapon X team.
Never been
I'm not at
this series.
I'm not as down on him as a character as you guys are, but I am down on how much of this series he's taken up. They need to move him off to the side, and I need a huge break between any Wolverine character and a Hulk, unless that Wolverine character is teaming up with Hulk. I would do a buddy cop Wolverine and Hulk book miniseries. I would read that.
I still need time for that.
I would want a break for it before it happened, but I could do it.
I could do it. Need a break though. Give me like a 3-year break.
Yeah.
Unless it's Gabby beating the shit out of Amadeus Cho, I don't want to read it.
Ooh, there we go. There we go. Speaking of perfect segue.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was
going to say Gabby versus Cho. Yes, bring that on now.
Yeah, because at rank 88 is All New Wolverine, issue 26 of the part 2 of the Orphans of X Legacy arc at a price point of $3.99, selling 28,499 copies with a decrease of almost like 55%. Again, Legacy Curse, man. Fuck.
Madness.
Fucking
madness.
That's the lowest Legacy returning sale. Or no. Yes. The lowest returning Legacy estimated sales. This rips my heart out, unfortunately. I don't know who wants to take this one, because either way it's going to be depressing.
I'll take it. I think these last two are going to be the death of me. This one right here, this All New Wolverine 26, that hurts, because between the two issues that deal with the Orphans of X, this was actually the better issue. One was the first one, the Legacy one. Yeah, the 25 was a great setup. That was like a really good setup. But 26 is where it just escalated the story, and it had that was the one that had 3 crazy twists at the end of the book, and you're like, wait a minute, this is the cliffhanger. No, this is the cliffhanger. No, they're all the cliffhangers. Okay. So it baffles me to see how this one is sitting that low until I take into consideration the Legacy Curse. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm hurting.
Yeah, this was probably the saddest drop, of course, because, All New Wolverine number 26 is worse off than All New Wolverine 24. As in, Legacy not only did Legacy just erase its climb, but it also left the series worse off than before Legacy started. And but that honestly, had Legacy not happened, that was basically the trend of this series so far anyway. I hate seeing the series below 30,000, but this is the world we're living in now. That's we're approaching the new normal, and it's not looking great, which is sad because it's so good. It's so good. This arc is good. This series is good. We said it earlier. I'm going to say it again. Tom Taylor's doing a great job, and please go invest in it because it's good.
I think this is going to end up being one of those series where, when it's over, people are going to go back and discover this series and be like, "Why weren't we reading this when this was actually in production? Why weren't we reading this when it was?" Especially here, I think people are going to be like, "Why weren't we supporting this when it was actually an ongoing series?"
No doubt. But yeah, let's move on to the last book for the most part.
Let's not.
Rank 141, Generation X, issue number 7, not a legacy title yet. At a price point of $3.99, selling 14,674 copies out, with a decrease of almost 9%. Again, we're starting to like this more. A lot of people are not giving this book a chance. Obviously, I can't remember how it started off as far as issues from like issue 1 to now. I'd like to see some of the earlier sales, like issue 1, 2, and 3, to see how it was doing then, if it had a boost when it first came out, opposed to now, because it is dropping, continues to drop, it seems. Well, not continues, but it's always in that range of like the 13 to 14,000. But Alan, pick it away. I know this kills you.
Yes, this kills me just as much as the all-new Wolverine. I've been a champion of Generation X since the announcement of the series even coming back. And although we stumbled and we tripped with the first few issues of the series, I was hoping that, it would find its way. And we got to a point where it started finding its way. And part of me, I want to see what happens when it hits its legacy issue, because I'm hoping that just like with what we're hoping happens with Jean, happens with this book. I hope that it hits legacy, it gets a bump, people read it, and they see that, they've actually found their footing. They know what kind of stories they want to tell, and these are good and funny stories. I can relate to these, or I care about these characters now. I'm going to continue reading this after legacy is over, because the last few issues, we've started to care about these characters now. Now we started to realize like they're actually growing together. They're becoming friends. They're sooner or later, we're on the verge of them just being like, look, we're a team. I don't care what the teachers say, we're a team. And it hurts to see this book this low. Honestly, this is where Iceman should be sitting. As much as we say we want to like Bobby Drake, we want to like Iceman, the series has not been very well, and this needs to trade places. They need to trade positions right now.
Yeah. Don't disagree. How about you, Rob?
Well, since you brought it up, I did just take a quick look at Generation X's real.
I knew he was doing it. I knew you were doing that. Thank you, though.
And the fact checking's back.
Yes.
It was around 45 was the premiere,
Okay.
and 45,000. So I mean, it wasn't top shelf, it wasn't gold or blue or even astonishing, but that doesn't matter. It was still it's a respectable number for a tertiary team book for the X-Men. It's sad to see that these numbers are so low. But since this is also the last book we're going to talk about, and it's also the lowest selling X book of the month, I do want to point out just a simple fact about Marvel sales overall, which is that even though we often talk about these books and we talk about how sad it is that things decline or that they're not at the numbers we hope that they would be at, the truth of the matter is that as a whole, the X-Men properties do sell really well for Marvel's publishing comic books. Now, they don't do as well as Star Wars, which is inexplicably the highest selling book ever. I don't understand how that happens, but
it's Star Wars. That's how.
But regardless, aside from Star Wars, the X-Men are a very solid publishing property for Marvel. You would be shocked at the number of books that Marvel has that sell under 20,000. In fact, you'd be shocked at how many books sell under 10,000.
Under 10.
So even though we look at Generation X or Iceman and an off month for Iceman, or even Jean, and we look at them and say, like, oh my God, it's selling 15, 16,000. This is terrible. The truth of the matter is it's still outselling America, Moon Girl, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Monsters Unleashed.
Defenders.
It's Jessica Jones, Defenders. It's like, So it's not. Everything's relative, and particularly with Generation X, and I think we can all agree here, low sales or high sales do not have any correspondence to quality.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
You know, because
No.
Generation X is a very good series, as was Gene, and it doesn't sell, and it's a shame because they're really, really good. Likewise, Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, selling really well, and you know, quality speaks for itself. So, so there you go. And that's all I got.
For sure, and that's all we have for the numbers. Again, thank you, Rob, for breaking that down. It's always cool to read your summary, which is on your Tumblr, which is 2memyxmen2017.tumblr.com, right?
That's right. Thanks very much.
Of course.
You know, every time that I hear your name, I always hear Professor X from like one of the old X-Men cartoons saying, "To me, my X-Men."
Exactly.
But with that, on that note, let's go ahead and discuss some news, though. And let's go ahead and start off with this first piece. Jean Grey's X-Men red lineup revealed. This is from Newsarama. Marvel Comics has revealed the lineup to the February debut New X-Men team book, led by the soon-to-be resurrected original Jean Grey. X-Men Red from writer Tom Taylor and artist Mahmoud Azhar, with covers from Travis Charest. The new team includes Wakandan mutant Gentle, Namor, the Submariner, Nightcrawler, the all-new Wolverine, her sister Gabby, and the mysterious, never-before-seen Tyrion, I believe, if I'm pronouncing that right, who is of Indian descent. So the whole brand-new character. Here's the team. But as I go on, plus Marvel has promised one more team member. Maybe Bling. Maybe. But with a quote, they say, "We've also got one more fan-favorite hero joining the team in this first arc," says X-Men Group editor Mark Pencia in a press release. As the threat level escalates, Jean needs to build a highly specialized team, not just those she trusts, but allies who can survive the oncoming storm. So, Alan, I know this is your first time hearing the team revealed. What are your thoughts, man?
Listen, I've been over here patiently waiting for you to finish talking so I can start talking about this. Oh my goodness! I just told you off air. You asked if I had heard about X-Men news, and I said no. And I told you that I was going to continue to ask you every time you ask that question if it was revealed with the red team. And here we are with the red team, and the red team sounds amazing. I know that we're in, blue and gold and everything else right now, but the red book is already my favorite book.
Yep.
we're putting Gabby and Lore on a team now. We're oh my goodness.
You can't have X-23 without Gabby right now. Not.
Oh, you can't. It's gonna be. Oh, it's gonna be so awesome to see them in a team environment.
Yeah, and they're pulling from a lot of cool stuff too. I mean, we got Wakanda. I'm not familiar with Gentle.
Yeah, I was about to say me neither.
Yeah,
that's a new mutant to me right there.
Yeah, Wakandan. We got Wakanda coming in here. Namor, the Submariner from the sea. Nightcrawler.
Freaking Namor.
But yeah, Tyranny or I'm probably mispronouncing this. Trinary. I'll say Trinary.
Trinary, yeah.
Trinary. Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Rob, what are your thoughts on this team lineup, man?
Yeah, she's mostly positive. They're, having Gabby on a team, I'm super excited about. Having Gabby interact with somebody like Nightcrawler, like I want to see that happen.
Yeah.
Gentle, I don't know too much about. I'm pretty sure I saw him. There was a Storm miniseries a million years ago, back when she was married to Black Panther, called Worlds Apart, where I think Gentle appeared in that. And there was only 4 issues. You can get it on Marvel Unlimited. It was fun. It's a Shadow King thing, and Storm electrocutes Black Panther and Cyclops in the same issue. It's great. But I'm pretty sure Gentle was in there. So great to see him. And my only hesitation, though, is I still need to see like the mission of this book and how it fits into the world.
Right.
I mean,
all
clearly
these characters fit too.
Yeah, clearly adult Jean Grey is not going to take orders from fucking Kitty Pryde. I mean, like, even in Gold, we can see that.
That's not happening new.
We can see that in this issue in Gold that, like, Storm and Nightcrawler and Colossus, they all just kind of entertain it, because they want Kitty to succeed and they're just kind of there to be supportive.
Yeah.
But
Colossus
at the end of the
Colossus is in love.
got
Or
a
do whatever
different
she
motive.
says.
But like there's even a moment like in the first couple issues where they think Kitty's dead because comic books, and Storm's just like, okay, fan out, we're gonna do this, and Kitty's like, wait, I'm in charge, because it to me that indicates that like even Storm is like, I'm just gonna entertain you being in charge. Jean Grey is not gonna fucking entertain Kitty Pryde pushing her around. All right, it's not happening. And I do think it's interesting. You have Nightcrawler, who is religious and a bit of a pacifist. You have Gentle, who is gentle. You have Laura, who has this new kind of philosophy on life. Gabby, who she's trying to teach.
Mm-hmm.
Namor's my wild card. I don't know why he's there, but it's part of me is kind of looking like, I wonder if this is like the pacifist retcon defensive team. I want to see how Jean fits into all of this.
Same here.
I also, of course, love the idea that Namor has a home, because Namor is Marvel's first mutant and is such an important part of Marvel's history. Last we saw him was he was dabbling in Secret Empire.
Yeah.
And he had a fragment of the Cosmic Cube. And we also saw him coaching young Jean in her solo series. But that's it. Like, that's all we've seen Namor of this whole year,
I wonder if that'll come into play.
Sure. So, I don't know. I think it's really great. I love Tom Taylor. My only criticism is that, because Tom Taylor's already writing All New Wolverine with Gabby, I would have liked to see him take on completely different characters instead of using them in both series. At the same time, I love both characters, and I'm happy to get more of that. So,
what if we were to hear that All New Wolverine was to come to an end soon? That could
I would be heartbroken.
Yeah, I would be heartbroken too. I don't want to think that, but you never know when you when you see a certain team or certain characters going to another book, i.e., Uncanny Avengers. You're like, we'll see what the future holds for this team. But
especially considering the fact that we know, I'm surprised you can make that theory and not take the next step. We just said earlier that we haven't seen Logan. We have 616 Classic Logan, original Wolverine. He's back. We haven't seen him. So what if they don't necessarily end the series? What if they end it with Gabby and Laura, and they just have the Classic Wolverine come back and just take over All New Wolverine?
Wow, that's a solid theory.
And
especially
then
since I think X-Men Red is going to take the place of Jean Grey's solo series.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that the shuffling of the deck is quite possible.
Yeah. And I mean the new character, I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do with her. I trust in Tom Taylor. I'm glad to see that he's writing a team book for Marvel. That excites me, and kind of makes me theorize that maybe more than likely they're gonna, after now Bendis leaving, they have to snatch someone up and sign him.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to come back strong with this. So we'll definitely see. You guys, go ahead.
I'm just happy that Laura and Gabby are actually going to be on the team. Like, honestly, like I've wanted to. That's one of the things I've wanted to see. I've seen Laura on the team when she was X-23, but she was still growing into a character. I've never seen this version of her. Like you said, she's pretty much almost a pacifist now. Like she's level-headed now. I've never seen this version of her interact on an actual ongoing team.
Right, and plus there's one. There's one more team member who is going to be announced as well, and we'll probably see. I know, wild thinking, but Bling, but I don't think it's possible. The way she is maybe becoming, like you were saying earlier, Rob, that some of these characters are gentle, no pun intended. But yeah, I mean, Bling is starting to maybe learn and become more gentle as well and soft. But you guys got any theories or any choices you'd like to see for the next team member?
I was trying to look at the power set of the team to see who could fill that position.
It's everywhere.
It is everywhere because Gentle is because I just looked Gentle up. I didn't know who Gentle was. I just looked him up, and my recollection, my thoughts on the team is you always gotta have a powerhouse on the team. There's gotta be one person is like, that's the powerhouse.
Mm-hmm.
That's our Colossus. That's whoever it is. And I looked it up, and that's gonna probably be Gentle. Given he's got some major drawbacks of his abilities, but I think that's going to be his position. We got our leader with Jane. We got the hot-headed, possibly strategist of the team, which is probably going to be Namor.
Yep.
We got the Gabby's gonna be the heart. Yeah, let's call it right now. Gabby's the heart of the team. What's Laura going to do? Laura is going to. I don't know. Laura might be the glue. Gabby's the heart. Laura's the glue.
Hopefully, this isn't a wide scale issue. We don't want to put any kids in danger. So maybe we're looking at a softer kind of villain or tactic here. Who knows?
True.
Only because one of the books we talk about it, there's something that stuck out to me that I really liked. But yeah. All right. Sorry. What were you gonna say, Alan?
Nothing. I was just thinking about everyone's position possibly on this team to try to figure out who the last person could be. Because we know this is going to be somebody established. Do we know any more established mutants that are pretty much extremely powerful, but at the same time like pacifists? Can either one of you think of somebody?
Dazzler.
I would be down with that. No lie, I would be so happy if it was Dazzler.
Saving her for. Yeah, Dazzler is actually my guess. And honestly, she's only my guess because I love her and I want to see more of her. I think if I were to bet though, I think my money is on Rogue, based on the dissolution of Uncanny Avengers, and granted, I think we have some sort of guarantee that Rogue will play a prominent role in the new Avengers storylines, but I think I'd like to see Rogue back on an X-Men team, and I think this might be the spot for her.
That'd be cool.
I'd like to see her home. You're right. I would love to see her back on the X-Men team. I'm not sure how that would factor in with her series with Gambit, but that would be a strong contender, though, to put Rogue back on the team.
Yes, we will see. Let's go ahead and get into the biggest news this week coming out in the Marvel community. Boy, oh boy. Marvel. So CB Cebulski named Marvel Comics editor-in-chief. And this is from Newsarama. And CB Cebulski has been named editor-in-chief of Marvel Entertainment, with Axel Alonso stepping down from the post to depart Marvel entirely. This is a quote from CB. "It's crazy. It's an honor. I'm blown away by the opportunity," he told the New York Times. And they go on to give us a little background of him. Cebulski entered the comic industry in 1997 as an editor of Central Park Media Corporation CPM Manga. He left the company in 2001 and after a brief stint as a freelance editor on titles such as Image Comics, Noble Causes. He joined Marvel in 2012 and started over there, writing the company's Marvel Mangaverse line, and soon joined as associate editor under Ralph Macchio. Cebulski rose through the ranks and oversaw the launches of Runaways, Wolverine Snake, and NYX. And then also Marvel tweeted out the day that this was announced that Axel Alonso leaves an incredible mark on Marvel. So this is coming off of what everyone was talking about last week. Bendis leaving. Now Marvel's editor-in-chief has been swapped. What's going on in Marvel? Like,
shake up,
cleaning house. Well,
I suppose depending on who your favorite characters are and what your favorite series are, this is either really great news or really bad news. I look at it as really great news.
Same here.
We spent a lot of time today talking about sales and things like that. And the commercial performance doesn't have necessarily correspondence to the quality of these books. We're in the middle of Legacy. But for the most part, we saw in the sales that if it was a ploy to bring in new fans or to boomerang the old fans back to Marvel, it didn't work. And I think a change in leadership is probably the right choice. It's probably the best business decision they could make at this point. We've lost a lot of fans. We've lost a lot of sales. We couldn't even beat as if I work for Marvel. Marvel couldn't even beat DC's Rebirth, and here we are. And you know what? At some point, you gotta pull the string and say it's time for a change in leadership.
Right. Yeah. I think it's a great choice and great opportunity to bring on some new blood. But Alan, what are your thoughts on this, man?
I definitely think that this is a good choice. This is a smart move for Marvel. I told you this bit of news I found out in the comic book shop talking to the owner of the shop, and we both were kind of talking about that. I know I get why these are companies, these are businesses, so obviously the bottom line to them is making money. However, given the type of industry it is, you have to have the right kind of leadership and position to capitalize on that and be able to make you money. When it comes to comics, you need to have somebody who's a comic guy there. It doesn't do you any good to have somebody who's only a corporate guy in control of things. A comic guy gets other comic guys. He should be able to understand us as fans and what it is we like, and what it is we want to see and read. I think it's hilarious. I had no idea though that he was in charge of the manga verse when they had it, because I'm actually in the process of collecting and reading the manga verse. So that's hilarious for me because I'm about to become pretty acquainted with him in a pretty personal way by reading, something that he birthed. But yeah, I think we're pretty much all in agreement that this is a smart and a great move for Marvel and for us as fans too.
Yeah, I was doing a little bit of research into him as well, just to see. Well, there's more in this article, I should say, that I didn't necessarily copy and paste. But yeah, he outside of all the Marvel stuff and the Image stuff, he was an editor for a lot of other indie scenes type of books and a lot of manga stuff. So it is really cool to see that someone from a diverse background is coming in to take this over. Yeah, I think this is a very positive thing for Marvel. Just granted, I'm not sure what's going on with that whole Infinity event to event they're pulling. It was kind of hard to hear that announced right after this because they were on a good roll. Not necessarily. I mean, I'm not happy that Bendis is leaving. It's good for him, but now you have this. I'm hoping after whatever this whole stupid ass Affinity thing is, we can get back to a creative department who's on the ball and makes these comics great again across the board with solid stories. Maybe that's whole bring. He'll sip out the bullshit, i.e. Iceman. He would have probably hopefully never let Weapon X happen, not the series itself, but the story. But Rob, I know you probably have something to touch on that as well.
Oh, do I? No. Look, I think Alan said it best. I think a lot of fans jumped ship when, with event fatigue and crossover-itis, and even as a result of Legacy and dumping all these things on comic shop owners. And I think a lot of people got really weirded out by the Disney acquisition. And then, of course, if you're an X-Men fan, you're in a particularly fucked boat because there's this whole film rights drama going on to the point where we can't even have X-Men characters in basic video games anymore, and it's all just this big clusterfuck. But that, I think, to the average reader, the longtime fan, you look at this stuff and you just think this is because corporations are making decisions about our beloved comic books at a corporate level. The unique thing about a comic book is that it's a long-form continuity, and for you to enjoy that long-form continuity, you have to stick with it for a long, long time.
Long time, yeah.
Which begs the question, who really owns the comic books? Is it whatever company happens to be in charge today? Is it whatever editor-in-chief happens to be in charge today? Or is it readers like me and you who have been sitting with this stuff for decades? And so I see in this new editor-in-chief a long-term reader, a long-term comic book fan. And I'm just like, well, no disrespect to the last guy, but the new guy seems to be like a deep-seated comic book nerd. And yeah. I'm just like, yeah, that's the person. He's the person who should be controlling the creative content of Marvel. It should be somebody who cherishes these stories and these characters, who have this stuff ingrained in his psychology, who is going to treat it correctly and take it to the next level. And so I'm very excited about the change.
And let's give Marvel credit for actually doing this, trying to at least show us that, hey, we're going to try to change some things over here, and we are going to try to make it work. So I definitely have to give them credit to that for sure.
Yeah, credit needs to be given because they had to pull the trigger in order to make this happen. So
yeah,
bravo Marvel on making this decision.
Now I'm just waiting for the next thing to drop next week. Like what's going to come next? Like, go in and clean house. Let us know what's going on, and we'll see that. We'll see. But you guys got anything else on that before we move on?
I don't.
All right.
Nope.
Cool. Well, Rob, you are going to join us a little bit later for some Secret Warriors and some X-Men Blue. But we're going to go ahead and jump into our first book of the evening. And what is that, Danger?
Deadpool vs. Old Man Logan #2. Written by Declan Shalvey. Art from Mike Henderson and Lee Lowridge. Letterer Joe Sabino.
We pick up with Old Man Logan actually battling with these secret agents. We then find out that Deadpool has found the target, and she refuses to allow Deadpool to help her. As she's on the run, Deadpool and Old Man Logan meet up and attempt to convince her to come with them, where she is then captured. And Old Man Logan and Deadpool end up in a bit of a tricky situation.
All right, so we get another installment of Deadpool versus Old Man Logan, #2 of this miniseries. Doesn't gain much traction from the first one.
Nope.
A
little bit more. Just a little
more.
bit.
I was actually going to say, like, we learned the name of this army who's chasing him, Genform Enterprise, and Matt. I didn't remember her name, but I guess it may have been mentioned.
Maddie? Was it Maddie?
Yeah, Maddie. Her Omega level power set we learn as well. She's able to.
Which I don't get how she's Omega.
Yeah, I don't get that either. I was wondering if that was going to be explained, but I feel like it's a lot to explain with 3 issues left.
Yeah, I mean, technically, you could do it like in a page or two.
You could
explain what she can tell, because we found she's a teleporter. That's what her powers are.
Yeah, and she can teleport anything.
She can teleport things.
Yeah, and anything into her vicinity. I mean, which is kind of cool. I do want to learn more about her. But that's one of the main reasons which would make me want to stick around, is to hopefully learn about her. That's really a lot of most of my positive. I did get a chuckle out of the Deadpool totem when he gave it to her. I did get a chuckle out of that, but I don't know. Other than that, this book's just lacking substance. What are your overall thoughts, man?
I'm with you. I'm trying to figure out how a teleporter is an Omega. Is she strong enough to teleport a planet? That I think could possibly make her an Omega.
I mean, and I'm glad touching on that. If we go back and think about the first issue, how it opened with the helicopter coming in, maybe her powers will continue to grow. Or in the bus, yeah. So maybe she will be able to create universes, or pull in. Again, there's a lot to explore with her. But I don't think, I'm not sure if we're going to have time to learn a lot about her.
I'm not either. And is it me, or does she resemble another X character that I have an affinity for?
Who would that be?
She kind of reminds me of Jubilee.
Okay. And
by the way that
the characteristics?
The characteristics, the attitude she kind of has, because you remember Jubilee was the teenager of attitude when they first introduced her. Even her look slightly reminds me of Jubilee.
No, I can totally agree too.
Yellow jacket and everything.
About it. No, yeah. Again, she is the cool factor of this. I definitely want to learn more about it. But yeah, other than that, I mean, just kind of I'll give them their marketing credit for using their top-selling books to put eyes on Maddie as a new character. Yeah. Hopefully, this does blossom into something pretty cool. Oh, yeah.
Now, if this is used to launch her as an actual character, then I will feel like something came out of this, because we've talked a lot about them choosing not to actually focus on new characters.
Yeah,
it does have to go somewhere. It has to go somewhere, but we've talked a lot though about them choosing to focus more on the characters everybody already knows, and not focusing on introducing or making new characters.
New ones. And that's why I really do appreciate them at least tricking people into giving new characters a chance.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But other than that, though, I mean, it's just like a generic chase story. Very 80s action type of movie. I mean, my one prediction, it's gonna be Maddie turns evil briefly, because she does get kidnapped by the Gen form. Maybe they'll have to fight. She turns good. They team up to take down Gen form. But I will say the art. I love the art. Definitely some of my favorite.
It was definitely better than what we saw in the last issue.
Yeah, I can see a little. I'd have to go back and look at it, but
The design of the characters are similar, but the overall art it's better than what
Maybe
they did.
different colors then.
It might have been. That's what it might have been. It might be different colors.
Yep. It's all we really got.
Yep.
It's all we really got. But what's going to be your score for this? Because I do want to like this. Right. I do want to like this. Scores. But again, I'm just sticking with it to see what happens with Maddie.
I'm going to go with a 7, and that 7 is because of the art and because of Maddie. I'm really interested to see if she's going to be an ongoing character, if this is actually introducing her as a mutant we're going to see from now on. So I'll go with 7 for this.
Okay. I'm going to go... I'm going to go 6 for the art. I was going to go 5... But I'll go 6 for the art and the appreciation for them trying to introduce a new character to us, and I just hope it does go somewhere in the end. But yeah, that's all I really got for that one. We'll see. But let's go ahead and move on to our next book. And what are we talking about, Danger?
Weapon X number 11, written by Greg Pak and Fred Van Lente. Art from Mark Borstel, Ibram Roberson, and Frank D'Armata. Letterer Joe Caramagna.
After failing to stop the Hawk Wolverine, Laura, the new Wolverine, actually finds out that the professor has a mind control device. And she uses this device to cancel out his mind control, which causes him to leap off. After tracking him down, Old Man Logan finds out that he's been trying to destroy every trace of his past, and he agrees that he will never again be an issue unless they come to bother him. Then he jumps off into the sunset.
All right, so let me get my positive.
You know what, Ryan. Normally, I wouldn't do this. I know you're about to respond to my banff, but I just feel like I shouldn't have said that he jumps off into the sunset. He jumps off into his own series.
Yes, yep, yeah. Either way, either or, they were both perfect, but and both right as well. Oh man. Well, with that being said, let me get my positives out of the way.
Okay.
The book did its objective. Makes Clay's we have an arch nemesis for Clay. They built their character. And it's over.
It's over.
And it's over. They left what is her? I forget the doctor's name, but yeah, they left her around for now.
Yeah, they left her in the little ex-prison research center thing.
Yeah, I know you like this a little bit more than me. As a series itself right now. But again, that's all I really have my overall positive. What are some of your thoughts?
I did the one thing I did enjoy about this was kind of sort of the building up of Clay's backstory. However, knowing that he has his own series coming along, I kind of find that's something that could have just done in his series as opposed to doing it here. They took up way too much of this Weapon X series just to tell the story of Clay, aka Weapon H. I did though enjoy the fact that he has that moment with Old Man Logan, and he tells him like, "Well, I've been going to these facilities because since he was created and he escaped, everybody's been chasing him."
That's one thing I did respect that was at least answered.
That was answered.
One of my other positives, I should say, as well.
It was answered, and I enjoyed his answer because his answer went against everything any character who's ever been in his position would have done. Normally, those characters, when they have the opportunity to recover their memories and learn about their past and their family, that's what they want to do. Even Wolverine. Then when Wolverine finally found out his true name and who he was willing to go down in a blaze of glory just to find out that information. Clay, on the other hand, was like, no, I've been going to these facilities, destroying every bit of data there is on me so that nobody can hurt my family that he knows he has. And he realizes that by doing so, that means that he's not going to get to actually learn who they are, where they are. He talks about, his son maybe wanting to throw the football and spend time with dad. He's given all that up just to protect them. That's not only very noble, it's also against what they normally do when writing these kind of characters.
Yeah, I'll agree. So yeah, that's my last positive. Then I don't know. Everything it's on repeat. This issue again with everything we keep seeing, even down to the wire of reminding us who these characters are each issue.
Oh man, listen, I'm getting tired of that.
Tired of it. Stryker was thrown away, literally thrown
away, just to kind of sort of pop up at the end of the book, and just to remind us that Stryker is indeed still around and will be popping up again.
Yeah, right now this book is a chore to read, unfortunately, and to talk about. Yeah, and plus I didn't buy Laura fearing Logan when thinking that he would kill Clay, because Logan brought her in on this. Like she should know. I thought that was a very, very, very missed opportunity.
You know what? I semi buy it. Okay, and the only reason I semi buy it is because her interactions have still been with the 616 Logan. She doesn't really like or trust too much the Old Man Logan. That's the one she's had beef with. Has been Old Man Logan.
You're right.
And given they're on better grounds now, I can still see her not being at the point where she necessarily trusts him. But I'm with you on the fear thing. I don't see her fearing him or fearing what he's about to do.
Yeah. Yeah. we got a clean slate going forward.
Yeah.
Let's give this team the book they deserve. Old Man Logan should depart, I think. I don't know. There's just nothing new to this. I don't know. Really, I'm just down on this book right now, as you can tell.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it is definitely. I don't necessarily know if it's time for Old Man Logan to depart. I know that in general, giving the just the Marvel Universe in general, it's time to figure out something to do with Old Man Logan.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
We've talked several times about maybe taking him out of some of the other X books and just only having him in the Weapon X book.
And I would be fine with that as a little offspring team, as opposed to having to be with the X-Men all the time.
Yeah, they could be like a Black Ops team. They could be what was it, X Factor was.
Yep, exactly.
But then we've also talked about, my dream is to have him off in the woods in a cabin. So
yeah. We can only dream. We can only continue to dream.
Only seen when people decide to go visit him and ask him for advice or something.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of the art's not really clicking with me. There's just something about it. I don't know. It's just a weird. It's the coloring, I think.
I was gonna say, is it the color? It's gotta be the color. That's what you probably don't like. Is the color.
Yeah, a little off for me. But yeah. I mean, unless you have anything else, really.
No, I think neither one of us has a ton for this book. We have more for it than other books, but I don't think either one of us has a ton for this.
That being said, what's going to be your issue score and the overall arcing score? Including 12 issues. 11. Yeah, 12 issues, right?
No.
Or 11 issues.
No, it's not that, because you forget 15. I count the issues from the crossover also.
Yep.
So issue score, I'll give it a 7.8. It wasn't terrible. A lot of the redeeming factor for it was that last little confrontation between Old Man Logan and Clay. That conversation was great. That was, out of everything that's happened, that was the only thing that they've done during this whole Weapon H thing that surprised me. On top of that, I do like the fact that it's finally over. We're finally at the end. So that's why I will give the issue, the arc, the story itself, all 12 or 13 or whatever issues it's been. I'm gonna have to go lower. I'm gonna have to say like 6. No. What's so funny? Because you're probably like way lower than that. Is that what's so funny?
Oh, go on.
I would say I wanted to say 6, but I'm going to say 5.7. It was just dragged on way too long. It became evident like more than halfway through this before they introduced Weapon H that pretty much the whole first half of the Weapon X series was just to get there and prelude to him. Yeah. I think maybe if this would have been shorter and if it would have been straight to the point and they wouldn't have like hinted around at it in the beginning and just told you straight up like, look, this is about this guy. I might have given it a higher score, but given that this has been stretched out way too long, that's where I got to sit with it.
All right. Well, the Russian judge is back. Issue score, I'm giving this a 2.
Wow!
Overall arcing score, and I stand by my scores as well. Overall arcing score, a 1.5. And that's for the sheer fact that they honestly took this, they dragged this on way too long, and just for how repetitive it was, and just there was truly no I don't know, emotion put into it. Honestly, it just all felt robotic. It was rough. This is rough. Really, really rough. Like I said, clean slate moving forward. Let's hope that we do get the. And it's the same writing team. And this could all be Marvel's fault for having Greg Pak, put this out. They could have mandated this. Like, hey, we need this new character. We need you to spend this amount of time doing it. So I think hopefully we'll see. I'm honestly positive moving forward because hopefully we'll see Pak's true talent. I've heard great things about him, so I just hope that with this clean slate he can really take it from here. So, but I stand by my score. I think this was, excuse my French, honestly a piece of shit.
That is hilarious. I just want you to know that that's hilarious.
That's why I laughed earlier, because you're like, I'm going to go a little bit lower in a 6.
It's sitting there like, I'm going to go a lot lower.
Yeah,
like
I'm in the Antarctic.
Man, that is crazy.
Yeah, buddy. But that's going to bring that review to an end. But we are going to move on to our roundtable discussion of X-Men Blue with Rob and Anthony. And let's go ahead and get into that, Danger.
X-Men Blue number 15. Written by Cullen Bunn. Art from Jorge Molina and Matt Mila. Letterer Joe Caramagna.
It's the final countdown! And the X-Men battle it out James Cameron style. Mojo is juiced up on viewership. Our favorite trio shines once again to dissolve the issue. We finally get the conversation between Kitty of all people, I should say, and Magneto. That happened. And Mojo is living under the sewers of New York.
My. We have finally made it to the end of this crossover event. And I don't know. I mean, I personally haven't really had an issue with this so far. I do think maybe we went a little issue or two longer than we necessarily needed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was still kind of fun.
I think with it going longer, it's one of the times I'm glad it actually was released quicker than one a month.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Like for once, that turned out right.
If this would have been a monthly thing, it would have been IBX all over again.
Oh boy, that would have dragged on way too long.
It'd have been issue 3 out of like, why is this still going on? Why is this not over yet? So yeah, it was good that this was over pretty fast. It was also good to see Mojo actually get into action and do something for a change.
Right?
Yeah.
I've been ready for that.
This is definitely a third act issue.
It definitely was. I want to say that it was awesome seeing Danger and her sidekicks join this issue. Yeah. Magneto and Polaris are her sidekicks. That's just the way that it is, and that's the way it has to be.
It's the Danger Squad.
The Danger Squad. I like that. The Danger Squad. She even had a couple lines in here. Like people don't realize Danger is kind of snarky a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we mean it in the most respectful, good way. Yes.
Yeah. Overall, though, I mean, for me. All right, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Yeah. With this, I mean, I'm glad it's over. This issue was a very just convenient way to end everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I took from it personally. I mean, there's a lot of third act action. Again, it happened the way it needed to end. It did its job. But yeah, unfortunately, it just kind of lost some steam for me. Just overall thoughts. But what are some of your overall thoughts, Anthony?
For the fact that it ended, or that it just, like you just said, it kind of like, it's the perfect, just like tie it all up and like wrap it up kind of thing. Like a lot of Marvel events seem to like end without anything feeling like it's going to matter.
Right.
Like from the end of it. And I think it was nice that this actually has like a couple things that have to matter after this, with them knowing about Magneto and Mojo staying on Earth. I mean, those are two pretty major things. They probably won't come up forever now, but like, I'm sure we won't see Mojo for a while. Yeah.
I'm not even sure. We'll definitely get into that. Overall thoughts, Rob? What are you thinking?
Well, it's over.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over. What do you want? No, I don't know. There were a lot of parts of this arc that I liked. At the end of the day, I still felt like it was shallow. Like I felt like nothing was really dug into the surface. I mean, you just mentioned a moment ago that it was a very convenient way to wrap everything up. That like, oh, he's subject to electromagnetic pulses. Well, thank God we have Polaris and Magneto here. Or thank God you had Storm and Bloodstorm here the whole fucking time.
Yep.
But regardless, it's like whatever. It's gone. It's fine. I'm glad it's over. The whole thing seemed like this big attempt to cash in on nostalgia and
easily
make long-term fans come back and say, "Ooh, look at all the bad guys we're going to look at, and look at all the characters we're going to see, and this is going to be fun." But since nothing was ever scratched below the surface, it just kind of came out of shallow from top to bottom.
Yeah, and you mentioned like they didn't have time to really touch on everything they kept introducing, especially like the outside felt the weakest. That was just that lost all threat level within the beginning of this issue, and by the end. There was a scene of the kids from Generation X sitting on a couch going, "Oh no, what do you want us to do?" I don't know. We kind of tried. You didn't see it, but.
Don't bring that up. We talked about that. That was such a disappointing and let down. That not just because it was the Generation X kids, but just the fact that there were all these mutants and heroes on the outside that we kept going like, well, why aren't they even trying? We didn't even get like a panel that showed them trying.
No,
we didn't even get them saving anybody. Like that could have did a lot for Generation X if we would at least had a panel of them saving people.
And then they go at the end,
showing them do something heroic.
They touch on good thing that everything disappeared. The cleanup won't be that good. You're not even going to clean it up anyways. Yep. You're not going to clean it up. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw what happened with the Sentinels.
Exactly. They weren't there to help clean that up. And that was just a big old mess. But yeah, there are some redeeming factors. The trio, obviously, Magneto, Danger, and Polaris, and even young Jean Grey being tied into that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I really like that touch of things. But Anthony, what were some of your spots that you liked?
Like about Jean, I think it's really interesting that like along the solo series happening, she's like learned all these cool new things to do, and we haven't seen it play in much. And she had like her little psychic fists in the one like splash fight page happening. I was like, well, that's nice to see. Like, I'm just so curious about so much about Jean, but that's way beyond this issue. I feel it's like a whole other conversation.
You sound like me. I was so hoping that during that fight she was going to be pulling out like psychic swords and daggers and axes and just destroying everything in sight. But we got the fist.
That we did.
I was
give me some more positive, guys, because I'm running out of positives.
Did you notice that I was gone for a minute?
Yes, for a brief moment.
Like as soon as you started talking, I was like, "Oh." I just said there was a call error. Oops.
Yeah, well, I will say
I've dropped off Twice.
The force combo at the end between Kitty and Magneto, I have some issues with that.
I was coming to that. I was hoping we were going to jump to that. Wow.
Well, kind of leading into that as well, just the fact that all these characters on the inside, we didn't even get to really see much of. They dumbed down, I felt dumbed down Colossus to all extent within this crossover. And,
Well, they dumbed him down in the last issue, and they smartened him up a little bit in this issue, but still, he's still dumbed down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, I mean, this whole Storm bit, them being just very brief moment. The dialogue didn't have anything to do with the story at all.
It felt pretty random.
Yeah, there was a random some real estate.
You want me to fight? I must feed.
If we're gonna, in terms of art, I don't dislike this art, but I just have two comments that throw me off a little. Rachel Summers, her hand when she's doing her like side sweep thing and like talking to Jean and like interrupts. Her hand is like someone else's hand. Hand's way too big for her.
Sure,
it's like Beast's hand.
Wait a minute.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Wait a minute.
I see that now.
I gotta find it.
I was like, is somebody helping her?
Yeah, overall art's not bad,
man.
but yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
There was that, and then I just don't. People have a lot of comments about Kitty lately with like just the changes and how she looks. At least she looks like a more grown woman typically, and not a little boy.
A little boy.
I don't like that she looks like a little boy in this.
Listen. There is one person on this show right now in this conversation who has had issues with the depiction of Kitty Pryde since her returning, Gold.
Yeah,
and that is me. I have had a huge issue with the way they've been depicting her. Like, I don't see how hard it is to do Kitty Pryde. If you need to, go back for the last 20 or 30 years, get a reference for what Kitty Pryde has looked like over the years, and just draw Kitty Pryde correctly.
It bothers me that it takes seeing her like this to make me appreciate it in Gold a little more. You know?
Exactly.
Like, I mean, there's so many other people who look like the best they've looked, and then there's just things like that where I'm like, hold on, though. Like, some of the female faces in this are very similar. That kind of threw me off a little. Like, Polaris, Jean, Kitty, Rachel.
That has seemed to be a recurring thing in a bunch of books as of lately. Are faces that are like basically the same face, but it makes sense for Rachel and Jean's face to be the same.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
But on the flip side with art, I appreciate that there's so much, like there's a lot of big spread action happening, and I think that that's a lot of fun to see. And they're all actually like interacting with someone in combat, not just like jumping around doing whatever to make it look cool. They're actually like in a fight. Like, you can feel that there's like a bunch of people in a room here fighting, you know?
Yeah, and to just kind of go back to before we got off track, the conversation between Kitty and Magneto. Very rough.
Just as soon as you said Kitty, I got sidetracked with seeing her face. Sorry.
No, it's cool. Very rough for me. I don't think, of all people, Kitty should have been having this conversation. If this is the only real conversation we're going to get about the issue, this was not the payoff that we were looking forward to. Well, I was looking forward to, at least, because, again, I've been championing for that to be, they should have like a roundtable discussion with everyone in the room.
Yeah,
it should have felt more than just, let's talk about it real quick. All right, let's talk about cleanup. Very rough.
I think me and you are about to agree and disagree on this in just a little way. And I say that because we talked about this and we were both in agreement, like that, honest, what you said, should have been a round table. I think that could have been an issue in itself, just discussing all the bombs that were dropped during this whole event, because they found out Magneto's still alive. They found the blue team was working with him. They found out that Nightcrawler and Rachel had this relationship going on. There's different stuff that was brought up that I'm like, okay, when the dust settles, they're going to all sit down and talk about this, and this is going to affect the X-Men going forward. And they did, basically narrowed down to like 2 pages of dialogue.
Yeah.
3 pages of dialogue, basically. I that's where me and you agree. We're going to disagree because I do think that Kitty should have been the one to initiate this and actually bring this up when this was over, because Kitty started off as the leader of everybody, and then the blue team left.
But it seems like she hasn't been around that long. I mean, it's not long as headmistress lately. Again, it could have worked with Kitty.
She's taking her job serious, though.
Well, it could have worked, it being Kitty, if it was in a different setting.
Storm, Colossus, and Nightcrawler have known Magneto longer and have more of a relationship with him, and I just feel like it's not that I don't have so much a problem with it being Kitty and Magneto as I do it not being anyone else. Like, it makes it feel like Storm and Nightcrawler just like stood there and just watched, and you would like.
Well, they did.
Maybe because they weren't even in the panel. That's another one of my issues.
That's what I mean. You don't even know, and they're probably the people who would have the most reaction. I feel like this is maybe like an overarching comment just on Blue and Gold in general. I just think that they have so much in the rest of the team, and they pinpoint something a little too much when use the whole team you have to make the most of the scenes available.
Exactly.
And this is over a year coming, I feel, of them knowing Magneto's alive, and it should have felt bigger.
That's a good point, because the only person out of the group who stepped up to say anything other than Kitty was Colossus, and it would have made sense, like you said, for Storm or Nightcrawler to step in and say something.
Yeah, Storm was in charge when Magneto supposedly died, I think.
Yep.
Right.
So just to throw her to the side doesn't matter.
Well, that's what they've been doing. But you're right. She, out of anybody, should have had the most to say, because that should have brought up memories of what just happened in IVX. That should have made her remember that. Like, that was my failure. This is the reason why I'm not leading the team, and he was part of the reason.
If they would have addressed that just on this one page, even, it would have, like, all of the problems with Storm since the Gold started would all be a little better. Just to finally have her say and do something about it.
Well, we gotta save that for her series. I did, however, think that Colossus' argument, that's the argument I would have expected him to make.
Right.
Because I remember when he became an acolyte of Magneto. I remember when he went, I literally vividly remember the issue where he went to the funeral and Professor X tried to get him to come back. He's like, nope, I'm going Magneto. And he went to Asteroid M. Like, I remember that.
I thought of you as soon as as soon as he spoke up, because I was like, oh, we talked about this before.
Yes, I remember him.
It's not that it doesn't bother me so much. I just wish there could have been more. Like, I've been waiting for everyone to know about Magneto. Like, that's been such a big deal to me, and just to have it be Kitty and done. Just kind of like I expected it to be like a story arc almost, you know, and it feels like it's over.
We had thought it was going to be an issue by itself, like literally this issue ends, and then the next issue of Blue would have been okay. We need to sit down to expansion. We need to talk about all this crazy stuff that happened.
Would have been a perfect filler before the next arc. But
what
are you thinking?
That's exactly.
What's that?
Oh, we lost Rob. Oh, he's out. Code red.
No.
Code red.
No.
Code red.
No, I'm here. No, I'm here. No, this is all exactly true. You know, I too thought that. I don't have a problem necessarily with Kitty being the one who speaks to Magneto, but I think we can all agree that the revelation of Magneto as being alive is probably the most significant thing that came out of this entire crossover.
Yeah.
And it does feel a little short-sighted to not have Storm be the one to say something to him, since like you said, she was the one who was in charge when Magneto died and the IVX thing and all that other stuff. But at the same time, you know what? I thought it was kind of another nod of this. Let's just wheel in all the nostalgia we have. Let's bring up the bullet, the space bullet. Let's bring up the time Colossus was an acolyte. And I'm just like, yeah, okay. I don't really care anymore. You know, we got to the end of this crossover, and I'm looking at it like, I like seeing, flashbacks and memory panels where we get to see what things used to look like, or don't you remember the Mutant Massacre, and don't you remember the Savage Land and things like that. But at the same time, that's all this crossover was to me. It was just a series of just like flashes that didn't really amount to a whole lot. I mean,
they weren't even actual flashbacks.
Yeah, and for me, the whole Danger and the conversation in the end is what I really just took away from this whole crossover.
Yeah. Well, the reason it like bothers me along what Rob is saying, it's not it's not so much that they threw it in here for nostalgia now that bothers me. It's more that whenever something cool comes up and you see it, like if you don't get enough of it, it probably means it's just not going to be a thing and won't come up again forever. And I feel like we saw a lot of cool stuff that got us all excited, but we're not going to get to see any of it now. I mean, like the Savage Land and everything all of the stuff that Rob just said, it's like Spiral. I would love to see more of Spiral, and we saw her for Danger 2, and that was
Valkyrie armor.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
But
we saw a Sentinel hosting a Phoenix.
Yeah.
That was at the end of one panel, end of one issue, and at the start of another issue, and it's gone in 2 panels.
Yeah.
When it wasn't even that page that you're talking about, Rob, it was the Sentinel, it was the Phoenix Sentinel, we had the Strife Apocalypse, and we had the Brood X-Men. Just that page by itself was like, what's going to happen? That's amazing. My mind is blown. And then you pick up the next issue, and it's over in a panel or two, and you're like, no. Why would you even tease me like that? I need that.
And that's really what this whole crossover is to me summed up, which is just, here's a flash, isn't this cool? But we don't really go any deeper than that. I think because this is a blue issue, I think it's worth note that the blue issues were stronger than the gold issues. I think we all know why. But is it at the same time? Is it neat to see Danger be awesome? Of course.
Oh yeah.
Is it
Danger
neat to
Rambo?
see Mojo once in a while? Of course. I'm cool. Yep. There's a lot to like here, but it's I don't know. It doesn't seem.
Well, at the same time, though, these titles are part of the Resurrection thing, and it's under the Legacy banner. So both of those things, at least the X-Men, to me, feel like they're getting the most like actual impact from those things. Like the other titles are taking a part of it, but this is like heavily Legacy Resurrection. Like it was kind of the culmination of what's happening at Marvel now, very present in an X-Men title, which is really nice.
Sure.
That's a good point.
But you're still right, though.
Yeah. Unless you guys got anything else on this, really, I'm glad it's over. I do wish there was like at least a filler issue before the next arc to give us some breathing space before the next big bang. But we'll see. Yeah. We will see. I still trust in Colin Bunn. So
of course.
I'm ready for a Danger solo. I don't want it to be 5 years until I see Mojo again.
I can go without Mojo for a while.
I can go for a while, but it's just there's so many things opened up just now with him here, and no one's gonna probably address it forever.
Yeah,
this turned into a Marvel event.
He's got a TV station now. He has a news station. Right. Like Mojo literally has a fake news station.
Like Mojo should be the next Marvel event, not just X-Men event, but that it would be Overload or way too far in the future to not matter anymore.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this up and give our scores on this. Alan, how about you?
Oh, I knew that was coming to me. I knew that was coming to me.
You know it.
All right. Well, it was wonderful seeing Danger in action again.
Real quick.
Go ahead.
Give your issue score and your crossover score.
Oh no!
Oh, the double score. Okay. All right. Well, it was good to see Danger in action. It was nice to see Magneto and Polaris have some bonding time, and I've always wanted to see those two do something together. So that was also fun. I do wish that conversation would have been an issue by itself, or at least that they would have hinted at it, ended this issue, and picked up the next issue with that conversation. So overall for this issue, I'm going to go with a 7. This was a 7. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't great. it got to the end. It wrapped up what it needed to wrap up, and it left me with some pretty cool things afterwards. So that's just for the issue. Now for the crossover, for the event itself, I'll go a little bit higher for the event, and I'll do like a 7.8. And that's primarily because I think this definitely is an event that would have done better had it been 2 issues shorter. Had it been 2 issues of blue, 2 issues of gold, and then we're done with this, I think it would have been better. Given what they did and the way they told the story, they could have wrapped this up in 4 issues. This could have been 4 issues, and it could have been over. And I think I would have had a higher opinion of it in that case.
This could have been like an annual, honestly.
That too.
I would have liked it a lot more, I think, if it wasn't annual.
Yeah.
You could have narrowed it down and made it a giant annual, yeah.
Written by Colin Bunn. No double timing. But
wink, wink.
Is that all you got? Or...
Oh yeah, that's it.
All right. How about you, Anthony?
So for the issue, I'm gonna go with an 8 just because I still had a lot of fun with it, and it's more action packed than anything we've gotten. I mean, the whole event has, in my opinion, been pretty action packed in comparison to their individual titles, and that's nice to see. But I've just been craving the Magneto thing so much. Just to have that slightly bittersweet note at the very end. It was like something that I've wanted, but not nearly the way I wanted it to happen. Yeah. So for the event as a whole, I'm going to go with a 7, just because I really was feeling like this event might end with like me feeling really excited and glad that I read it, instead of just like, well, that's over, what's next? So that kind of balances this issue out from the rest to me. So this is an 8, and the event I'll say is 7.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
Oh God. No, actually, so the truth of the matter is, like I said, the blue issues I think are stronger than the gold issues. The issue here, I'm going to give it a 7. But for the crossover, I'm going to go with a 6. There's a lot here to like. Don't get me wrong. If you're a longtime fan of X-Men, I like seeing references to Asteroid M and mutant massacres and things like that, and that's great. But there's just not enough of the positives to outweigh the negatives for me. Once again, prominent characters who should be whooping ass like Storm and even Old Man Logan are off in the background. There's some wonky dialogue every now and then. I don't know. Like I said, I think the whole thing is a little bit shallow and didn't really scratch anything beyond Magneto's big coming out. But that was all I really got out of it. So a 6.
Yeah, that's respectable. Yeah, to echo a lot of what you guys say. So that being said, I'm going to give the issue itself a 6, and the crossover score 6.5. I'm glad it's over.
So
it kind of dragged on way too long, and for the amount of time that they gave us, there could have been a lot of more, not necessarily character development, but more focusing and inquiring everyone. The threat level just didn't seem to be as high as it should have been with everything else going on. Like the outside world, again, just pointless.
What outside world?
Exactly.
There was no outside world.
But I enjoyed. I thought I will say the art team, minor nitpicks, was great throughout the entire crossover. Though some of the best we've had in both books. So I hope it does continue from there. But yeah, that is our roundtable discussion of X-Men Blue, the end of the Mojoverse crossover. Now we go on to Negative Warzone, Punisher Warzone.
I'm pretty pumped for that.
Yeah, it should be cool. We will see. We will see.
I think time travel in Blue will be cool, but I'm a big Armor fan, so I'm pretty ready for this Negative Zone crossover, or whatever it is.
No doubt.
Oh boy.
Good stuff. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to move on to our last book of the evening.
Let us check in on my former Padawan, Magik, in Secret Warriors number 8. Written by Matthew Rosenberg. Art from Javier Garron, Will Robson, and Israel Silva. Letterer Clayton Cowles.
Mr. Sinister, Marvel's most glamorous villain, and his current roster of Nasty Boys are capturing kids. The Secret Warriors, Quake, Moon Girl, and Miss Marvel, meet up with Inferno, whose inhuman niece was just abducted by Dark Beast. Dark Beast, who we last saw in New Team, is under the employ of Mr. Sinister. As they strategize their next move, a special visitor crashes their meeting, Magik. Magik joins the team on the mission since Dark Beast escaped her capture, and because Magik is not too fond of creeps experimenting on kids. But who is? Throughout the issue, Karnak also helps the team, but without them knowing, since he's been kicked off the team for reasons. The team follows leads to Dark Beast's old lab in former Newtian, and then to Florida, where they discover a warehouse full of Sinister's stolen kids.
So you're probably wondering why we chose to do Secret Warriors. That's because our homegirl Magik shows up, and we decided to we'll discuss this first arc for the most part. We'll kind of we can talk off air to see what we do after that. But Magik's in here. We're gonna read it. We're gonna check in on her and see what she's up to. And overall, I like the issue. The first time reading it, it took me a second read to really enjoy it. But I love how things kick into gear right away. There's no, there are not a lot of hand holding throughout this. Each character has a voice, I thought, and I thought the art enhanced that with the body language as well. What else? Comedy quips, still while taking itself seriously. But that's some of my just first initial thoughts. Alan, how about you?
Okay, I was waiting for this. Obviously, this is my first introduction to this book series team. It was very interesting to see Sinister, who I have not seen forever, and not quite sure why or how he's even there. Hopefully, that's something that we find out a little bit later. Mm-hmm. Definitely excited to see Dark Beast. I've been dying to see Dark Beast for a long time. I was wondering if he was even still roaming around the universe. Even though they did raise the question in the book that there's 3 beasts now.
Yes.
So we maybe get a little bit overboard with the amount of beasts we got flying around. Oh yeah, amount of everyone. Overall though, the tone was a little weird. I wasn't expecting it to be quite so comedic. It was pretty comedic throughout the book. It wasn't like silly comedic, but it was comedic. It almost reminded me of in a way slightly of a Marvel movie. They have like a certain kind of comedy that fits in with the Marvel movies, and I just kind of, when I was reading it, I could hear it in that kind of like tone and that kind of pacing.
So it kind of made me. I got that same vibe. I couldn't put my finger on it, but yep, I think that's what it was.
Yeah, it made you think of kind of like when you saw the by the time we got to Age of Ultron and we saw how the Avengers act together, or even for those who just saw Thor, the way Thor is now, how he's grown into that, he's got some jokes and stuff now. That's kind of how this felt.
Oh, for sure.
Which, bravo, if they're actually starting to bring some of that into the books. That's, hats off a little bit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was like overbearing, but it had that slight touch to it. How about you, Rob? What were some of your? I know you read issues 1 through 5 at least before this, right?
I'm all caught up. I've read them all, and what's really cool about this issue is that it being the legacy premiere, you really don't need to know, as Alan just discovered, you really don't really need to read issues 1 through 7 to know what's going on in 8.
No,
and frankly, 1 through 5 were just a Secret Empire tie-in, and then 6 and 7 were a Secret Empire backlash or aftermath. So
Deadpool, and I know the last issue dealt with Deadpool and Quake.
Yes. So you're also right that it's got this nice comedic tone, but we're of course reading comic books, and I swear like a sailor on this podcast, and I get that. But there is a child. There's a literal child on the team. It has to be a little bit lighter. And Moon Girl is hysterical. She's just one of the better characters. And so you combine somebody who is light and funny like Moon Girl with somebody as flat and dull as Karnak. Comedy is just bound to ensue.
Yeah, because I had messaged you about that. I was like, if there's something I was missing as far as Karnak not being with the team, and the reason why, like, Moon Girl's talking to him, but you had mentioned that that's his son that he gave away, so they're a little salty at him right now.
Yeah, so just a quick catch-up, because this is not an X book, so we don't talk about it all the time.
Right.
But during Secret Empire, Quake and the other Inhumans, pretty much everybody on this team's an Inhuman, right?
Yep.
They free Karnak, who had been imprisoned, and Karnak says that there is a secret weapon who is a person that can bring down Hydra, and that person is a child named Lear. It's later discovered that Lear is actually Karnak's son, and so they also discover that Lear has been held captive by Dark Beast in New Tian during Secret Empire. So they break into New Tian, they confront the X-Men. They find that Lear had already been captured by Hydra and was, of all places, being held in New Attilan which is now an Inhuman prison, or at least at the time of Secret Empire, it was an Inhuman prison. So basically, the arc ends with them going to New Attilan, freeing Lear, and it's revealed that Lear is Karnak's son. More importantly, that Karnak, being a cold and analytical person, decided to basically give or sell his own son Lear to Mr. Sinister to allow Mr. Sinister to activate Lear's powers because the Terrigen Mists are gone. So consequently, everybody's all pissed at Karnak, and Karnak is off the team.
Rightfully so. I mean, that's pretty fucked up. I mean, I understand why he did it, but yeah, he just went about it the wrong way. What are you saying, Alan?
I was going to say that is extremely messed up when you get the whole backstory of it. That's like crazy. They kind of sort of said it in the recap, because I didn't read the recap for once. And it kind of sort of mentioned that, but not into that kind of detail, and that's just wild to know that.
No, but for sure. Let's go ahead and talk about Magik's Magik. She was badass. I thought her entrance was cool. The reason why she was there, like, at first it all just seemed too easy. But you get the reason. There was a forum that all the superheroes talk on. And
I'm so glad you brought that up. I wanted us to talk about that so bad.
That was great. She talks about everyone who was in that forum, at least. Someone I wasn't familiar with is what was his name? Who was the first guy she mentioned? Max or Mass Master? Yeah, she goes down the roster like Mass Master, the cool Wasp, Wiccan, the cool Spider-Man, America, the cool Hulk, Sister Grimm, the cool Nova, even Hercules. And you see him like typing away on the laptop. Just very cool comedic chops right there. I really appreciated that. But yeah, what were some of you guys' thoughts on Magik?
I appreciate the fact that Magik found out not just from the forum, because Magik doesn't own a computer. She found out because Moon Girl told Dust, who told Armor, who told Magik. That was hilarious, and it was awesome for me because those are two characters that I've kind of wanted them to bring back and do something with. We've seen Dust appear in a couple other books recently, but Armor, I'm glad to see her name at least dropped.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And plus, she's also the main reason why she's there is because she's pissed that kids don't.
Oh yeah.
People don't treat kids the wrong way, and they don't. And the people who did it don't disappear on my watch. Kind of giving us some backstory as far as when they were trapped. But Rob, what were some of your thoughts on Magik? That's why we're here.
Dear Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah.
This is how you write Magik.
Yeah.
It's really not that fucking difficult. She's the queen of limbo. She's a badass. She can teleport. She was raised in hell. She's a smartass. She doesn't get a lot of modern references because she was raised in literal hell, as was revealed in this issue, or not was mentioned in this issue. And she's just awesome. She was seeing Magik here makes me think, okay, then she's not the flat character we saw in X-Men Gold with that nonsense with Omega Red. She's phenomenal, and she was great in every scene she was in.
Yes, she was.
Every scene.
And going back to Lunella, Moon Girl, real quick, I love the fact that when Magik entered, well, they didn't know at the time, but it was Magik who entered into the bedroom, and Miss Marvel told her to stay downstairs. I do like the fact that they are keeping kids out of the danger, even though she is on the team. I thought that was a good touch because you don't, when you see, like for instance, Damien over in DC, kids like what?
He'll be
10.
okay.
Yeah, kids like 10. He's out there fighting ninjas. So it's funny. But yeah, I do appreciate that.
Well, it's not even that. It's in any comic book when you have a kid that's either even considered to have some kind of ability or fighting skill or whatever, then they're automatically okay to deal with whatever is coming.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what made it extra nice. Like, yeah, she's inhuman. Yeah, she has abilities, but we're going to keep her out of harm because she's still a kid at the end of the day.
Yeah, she's our technician.
She's our technician. We need her to fix stuff, figure stuff out, and hop on forums and contact people.
Which is funny because in a way she is getting it seems like she's getting a lot of her information from Karnak, which makes it even better, and which it kind of explains the fact that she was able to figure out things so easily. Things kept coming to her. At first, I was like, this is maybe too giving, but with her talking to Karnak, it kind of makes more sense for me.
I'll say one thing. It's not even funny, but one of the things about this issue was she was one of my favorite two characters in this issue. Her and Magik made this issue for me. Sinister was funny when he was in it, along with Dark Beast, but those were the two that really made this for me.
Yeah, I gotta say, honestly, all the characters for me.
No, they were all good. The interactions were good, but like Magik, like when they were teleporting and Inferno kept throwing up, and she was like, "Yeah, that's going to keep happening." Certain kind of people can handle it, and certain people can't handle it. And she was kind of, jabbing him a little bit, like, "You're not man enough to actually go through the teleportation. Like, you can't handle it."
Some good quips in there, and I think Matt Rosenberg did a great job of giving us plenty of character moments. Each person had a good scene. Mm-hmm. The chemistry is there too. Like they're still butting heads. They're still learning how to become a team. So it's cool. It's going to be cool to see how they grow and become a badass team. Especially if Magik's going to stay around as well. So we'll definitely see. And plus we get new Tinian and we get to go to Toledo, Ohio. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. We get references to tell us that some of the stuff that we saw recently actually means something.
Right, exactly. I appreciate that.
Because we were going through some of those Secret Empire tie-ins, wondering like, okay, is this even going to mean anything when this is over?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. There were some repercussions apparently.
Yes, there was. What else? What do you guys think of the art?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Particularly the coloring. Magik looks particularly good when she premieres, when she's stepping out of her first portal in the bedroom, and all of the moments where she's brandishing her soul sword.
Yes,
she just looks terrific. I love the way that they are playing with the light and color. Although to be fair, that's been true all the way up to now in this series. Inferno and his power set is always portrayed gorgeously, and no difference for Magik. Magik looks terrific.
Yeah, the first few pages started out a little bit rocky for me, but going on that Magik train real quick when she's fighting the monsters at the end, and she's like, "Stay down." I thought that was beautifully drawn and colored. That was probably my favorite page, and it reminded me of kind of Sienkiewicz esque to it. Very, very nice, very cool stuff. What were you gonna say, Alan?
Nothing. I was going to say that I'm going to agree with Rob all the way. Like the art's good. The colors really set off in this book.
Yeah.
Specifically, like with Magik, I loved when she's using her sword. Anytime she teleported, the colors they used for the flames was just like they just jumped off the page. And I read this on the tablet, and they still jumped off the page. So yeah, the art's goodness. I wonder. I'm not getting too much into like shades or anything, but I really want to know what kind of red that is they use for Inferno, because there's a very eye-catching red.
It is. But yeah, very solid stuff for me. Again, the second time I read it, I liked it a lot more. There's just a lot of good stuff. Each character had their time to shine, and I got some laughs throughout it. Good start for a legacy book. Definitely, probably if Magik stays on the team, I'll probably end up, seeing where this all goes. But what were you gonna say, Rob?
Well, actually, I was going to comment that there's part of me that really hopes that Magik stays on the team. In fact, going back to Moon Girl, let's bring back Dust and Armor too. What the hell? I'm totally fine with this being Uncanny Inhumans. That's
Right.
fine with me. Because they're not getting any love in the current X series, and I don't know if things will change. So I say let's do it, especially given the fact that we now have such a complex history both in the fictional world between the Inhumans and the mutants, and in the real world between the Inhumans and the X-Men franchise. What a nice way that we could bridge all these gaps by having them all together.
Yeah, as soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, that'd be amazing to have. You said Uncanny Avengers, Uncanny Inhumans. I'm like, that would be amazing to have a Inhumans Mutant Unity Squad.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't read that series, but I'm sure you guys got where I was going with that.
Yes.
But that would be awesome, though. That would really be sweet, and especially, I think that would help everybody because let's be honest, most of us don't care about the Inhumans, and we really love the X-Men. So that would be a chance for us to resurrect some of these older X characters that we have not seen, like you said, Dust, Armor. We can go on and on with X characters they could resurrect and put on this team.
Exactly.
And it would also give a chance. It would give somewhere for the Inhumans that they're trying to shove down our throats, that they're trying to make us care about. It would give them a place to go. So that would be amazing.
Yeah, and one thing I will say about this is this issue has a lot of heart. It's one of the things I took away from it, and which raised up my score as well for this. But you guys got anything else on this, or you want to go ahead and score this?
Well, I like to just make a quick pitch because this is an X-Men podcast we're on right now, and this is not an X-Men book. This is a great issue to jump in on. I would argue that the first few issues, particularly if you didn't read Secret Empire, are not going to make much sense. Okay. Although there are a lot of X-Men cameos, particularly in issues 3 and 4 of this series, when they went to Newtian looking for Lear in Dark Beast's lab. We're talking some deep cuts. It was Richter, Boom Boom, Forge, Dazzler. There's there were a lot of characters. Now, not all of them had, actually, almost none of them had speaking lines.
Right.
But you can envision that Quake and Richter had a lot to say to each other. So it's funny that this is an Inhuman series, but the X-Men are all over it. I recommend it. It's a good series. Their primary villain is an X-Men villain.
Yeah,
Mr.
we haven't even touched on him much.
Him or Dark
Beast. Yeah, and Dark Beast, of course. But whatever. It's a good series. It's better than some other X series that are currently on the market that we won't name. But give it a shot.
Yeah, that's for sure.
That was cold, Rob. Real cold, ice cold.
It was freezing.
It was
cold.
freezing.
It was jeez. I might have to move to Los Angeles.
I know. You're such an ice man.
Or ice, baby.
Oh. The sad part is that those stupid jokes we just came up with are better than what we did in that series.
Yes.
But whatever.
Yes. Oh, yes.
With that being said, let's go ahead and give our score on this. Alan, what's going to be your score?
All right, well, as this being an introduction to this team and to this group, this was actually a strong introduction. I didn't feel too lost about what happened in the other issues before this.
Nope.
I love the art. I love the interaction between all the characters. I love the pacing. I thought that the jokes in here were really good and well placed. I especially love the form. I want that to actually become a thing in some of these books going forward, that there is a form.
Hey,
so I'm going to go.
If you're listening.
Yes, I'm gonna go 8.5, 8.5. Yeah, I'm gonna get this 8.5. This is a strong start. I would definitely be interested to continue this series and see if Magik does indeed stay on the team or not.
Very nice, very nice. How about you, Rob?
I really want to see a study of just how much our scores match, because it's funny to me when you listen to the podcast. Just we're not planning the fact that we almost always have the same scores, but it just turns out we often do. Yeah. I'm going to go with an 8.5. So it's a really good it's a good issue. I think it's probably one of the better issues of the series so far. Magik is great. The colors are amazing. Moon Girl is funny. The Forum is brilliant. Mm-hmm. Karnak is actually a little funny. He's very dry. He kind of reminds me of Sheldon Cooper. You know, it's just like something very like blanket and silly about him. And it's just good. It's just a good book. 8.5.
All right, cool. I'm gonna go a little bit higher. I'm gonna go with a 9. Actually, I'm gonna stick with my 9. I thought there was, again, the one thing I took away from this book was there is a lot of heart. I thought it was well planned. The art was got better for me as like within after the third page. It seemed like the pencilist or the inker may have changed, and it really worked for me. All the magic stuff was great. Again, all the dialogue was. I don't think there was one bad piece of dialogue in this entire issue, so I really appreciate that as well. And a solid start for a legacy book, and I hope people do pick this up because it's definitely worth it. And you don't have to know what came before. But yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9. 9 for Secret Warriors number 8. Can't wait to see where this goes. Yes. But that is our last book of the evening. Thank you, Rob, for joining us for Blue and Secret Warriors this week. But we are going to take a quick break, and we're going to be back with some Fastball Tweets. Back everyone for some Fastball Tweets. If you want to join in on the Fastball Tweets, we have a X-Men Monday thread for each new episode, which is going to be our pinned tweet at Comics Corner Pod on New Comic Book Day, which is every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Leave your thoughts if you want. If you aren't on Twitter and you want to get your thoughts read in, go and email us at columbuscomicscorner@gmail.com, and we'll take them that way as well. Let's go and get into our first one, though, and it's from Just Zilla at Sean Chandre 2000. I wonder if Mojo, being on Earth, will affect other heroes. Also, if you guys read Secret Warriors, let's agree that she should stick on this team instead of being on Gold. I'll let you take this one.
What can I say? First things first, I hope that Mojo being on Earth will affect other heroes. I hope they wait a little while before they do it. I don't want them to jump straight into doing it and give us a little bit of a breather between this.
He'll probably need to build his army, build his plan up.
Yes, I want him in the background doing stuff. I want him in the background doing things. Like I almost wanted it to be a surprise when he does do something, and we're like, "Oh, Mojo's masterminding this."
Now.
Okay, I remember he's stuck on. Oh yeah, I forgot he was stuck on Earth. All right. Secondly, yeah, I want Magik to stay on the team.
Same here. Great chemistry.
I think that the chemistry and just the idea that when we discussed it about like doing a unity team between the Inhumans and the X-Men or the Inhumans
and the younger characters at that too.
And the younger characters, I think that would be awesome, and I also think it would be needed. My biggest question about this team though is I'm surprised I didn't think about this when we were talking about the book. Miss Marvel's on the team, right?
Yep.
Where does that put her champions?
Yeah, I think she has been bouncing around for a while between both.
No. Listen, I need them to stop doing that. All right, if they're going to do that, they need to actively end the issues, discuss how it's a problem for like when someone tries to juggle so many classes in work and they can't do it, they need to actively have her be like, I'm so exhausted, I'm so tired. It was the Avengers, it was the champions last week, and then this week it's the Secret Warriors. So they need to cut that and address that.
They do. They really do.
Yeah.
But I'm so for Magik being on this team as well. Obviously, we saw that Guggenheim couldn't treat her right. So I thought Matthew Rosenberg did a great job. And again, I'm on his writing right now. I've only read a couple of his things, but yeah, I think this should be a really good time for the Secret Warriors, and I think I'm more likely to continue picking up that book. But I'm glad you enjoyed it as well, because this is your first Secret Warriors book, I believe, as well, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, because I read I owned the first volume, I believe by Hickman, but after that I hadn't read anything else. But yeah, this seems to be this should be a good book. But yeah, thank you for that, Sean, as always. Our next one is from Steve Sellers at Shadewing. X-Men Blue, fun, solid conclusion for the most part. Long Shot by far was the best thing in this. Give Bun a long shot series. However, Kitty is badly drawn in several panels, and the Kitty Magneto argument is forced and makes no sense. Just no. And I agree with you on a lot of points, because I even brought it myself in regards to the Kitty and Magneto deal. I necessarily didn't work for me. And I also forgot to mention I did appreciate Long Shot's departure. It felt natural.
Thank you.
Oh, nice, very nice.
Oh,
Not that long
inside.
shot. Not that long shot.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, what are some of your thoughts on this?
I will have to agree all across the board. We're all disappointed in the way that they handled the conversation of Magneto being back. It was definitely wrapped up for the most part.
Yeah, I will say it was fun. I had fun reading it.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think that they did mean this more as of for it to be fun rather than it to be serious or have any like actual overarching repercussions other than finding out that Magneto was alive.
Seemed to be the whole point in the end.
Yeah, that was basically the whole point. Have fun. By the way, Magneto's alive.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got to deal with this.
No doubt. You got anything else on that one?
No.
But yeah, I think that's all I got. Yeah, we'll see what happens with the Blue from here on out, though. But yeah, again, thank you for that, Steve. Our next couple ones are actually from Brandon J. Griff at Griff Funk. He said Mojo World lingered an issue too long, but wrapped up nicely. As a whole, it was fun, even if it wasn't a masterpiece. I'm excited for both books going forward. Coming out of this, Bloodstorm should probably die though. And he also went on to say later on, actually today, he said, pro tip. Laura and Gabby are in this week's issue of Hawkeye, and it's been fantastic. Just to touch on the Hawkeye tweet real quick. Rob actually sent me a panel or a page from that. It looks pretty cool. So yeah, me and you, we hopped on Hawkeye for a second. Didn't
fast.
Yeah, fast and gone. But I think at some point we'll pick up that issue as well. But yeah, what were some of your thoughts as far as Griff Funk's tweet?
I mean, he said an issue too long. I said 2 issues too long. I think they could have done it in 4 issues as opposed to you said the same. So it was definitely longer than what it needed to be. But hey, at least we got to the end of it, and it is over. So that's something, right?
Yeah, and I'll definitely say I'm excited for everything that is coming out of these arcs. Do sound interesting, and it seems like it'd be a new push for the X-Men since Resurrection, so it should be cool. Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to take a look at that Laura and Gabby appearance because we love Laura and Gabby over here. There are certain books and certain characters that are like staples of any of our shows, and Laura and Gabby are 2 of those characters that we just absolutely love over here.
Yes, indeed. The more I think about the whole annual bit, wouldn't it have been cool if they, I know Marvel probably never do this, but a magazine format of a Mojo crossover, like it all be in like that one magazine annual style.
Wow. That'd be pretty cool.
That would be really cool. But they'll never do that.
No.
But yeah, thanks for everyone sending in those Fastball tweets. We always greatly appreciate that. But yeah, that is the end of this very, very long episode 23 of the X-Men Monday podcast. Thanks for listening and dealing with all of our ramblings. But we have next week, though. We've got another big week as far as books go. It's All New Wolverine number 27, continuing our favorite arc right now, I think, and that is Orphans of X. Yes. Continuing, hopefully, to be a great series is Cable number 151, continuing that New Mutants arc. Yes, bring that on. And then our new favorite around here, Generation X number 9.
Yes. Oh.
So it seems like that one. I can never tell what kind of schedule they're on.
Me neither, because it always creeps up on us. It's like, did we just do one, or it creeps us on us, and we're like, oh, it's been forever since we did one.
Yeah, because I could have swore Gen X was a monthly title.
Me too, and I feel like we just did one like two episodes ago, and here we are. Yeah, and it's like here we are again.
Yeah, and then actually brings us to our last book, and one of my points I wanted to make is X-Men Gold number 16. Again, it just we don't get a break from these flagship books.
No.
But
a break? What's that?
And hopefully, it does become worthy, because it hasn't really felt worthy for it being bi-weekly. And I will continue to always champion for some of these books to go monthly. They need it. X-Men Gold especially. I think if you give Mark Guggenheim more time, he'd probably be able to tell a pretty cool story. Cool. As you can tell, we are spent. Because it was a heavy episode.
Oh yeah,
it was a heavy episode. I was looking forward to it. I was like, oh boy, we got a lot to talk about. Plus, we saw Justice League this week as well. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people not liking it, a lot of people loving it. I'm on the side that I really did enjoy it. I want to go back and see it again for a second viewing. So, honestly, to see how I feel again. But it passed the test of that rewatchability in a movie theater and giving it more money. So it got my pass for that. But let's give why not? Let's give our initial thoughts on Justice League real quick.
Oh wow!
Real quick.
Bonus. We give you guys a bonus. Initial thoughts was this is exactly what Warner Brothers and DC needed. This could be their actual movie game changer. They've established some new things in here, and they've made an attempt to fix some of the mistakes that they made in the last few movies. And I think that they did all of which well. Ryan, I know you're going to say what we keep saying. It's not a perfect movie. No movie is perfect.
Nope.
But they did a good job here, and they got me excited to see where they go with the universe from here.
Boom. And I echo everything he says. On that note, we're going to get out of here. Again, thank you for listening, everyone. We really do appreciate it, and we will talk to you again next week.